The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Aaron Glenn fired Steve Wilks this morning. Where do the Jets go from here? The latest on the state of the Jets. Jets. Frankie V and Will Parkinson will join me. It's the Jake Asman Show. Let's hit it and get it started.
Time to lose some games, bitches. You guys should be pros at this. They don't give out trophies for 4 or 5 wins.
A new chapter for the Jets has started. Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji are tasked with shaping the future of this franchise. Will they be the ones to finally get it right? We will be here for every step of the journey on the Jake Asman Show, breaking down all the storylines, every game, and everything in between. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chats, baby. Cut the line. The Jake Asman Show starts right now.
Live on a Monday, here we go. We are presented by FanDuel. If you're betting Monday Night Football tonight, Aaron Rodgers against the Miami Dolphins, do it with FanDuel Sportsbook. A reminder, hey, join the Patreon. Get in the Discord. The Jets conversation never ends in our private Discord. It comes with your membership to the Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Jake Asman Show, and you can sign up there. Reminder, of course, hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're talking Jets each and every day, win or lose. And oh, man, yesterday was certainly a loss. And today we find out the DC of the Jets is no longer the DC. Steve Wilks has been fired. Before I bring on Will Pa and Frankie V to react, we will play you Aaron Glenn this morning announcing the firing of Steve Wilks.
I relieved Steve Wilks from his duties this morning as our defensive coordinator. Chris Harris will actually be assuming those duties right now, and I will be helping him as he progresses through the week as our coordinator, and everybody else will stay the same. This decision that I made late last night, and I talked to him this morning, and I felt like it was the best decision for the organization at this time. And I've said this all along, that I'm evaluating players, I'm evaluating coaches, I'm evaluating myself, and I just felt like this was the best decision for right now for the team and for this organization.
So Aaron Glenn announcing Steve Wilks has been relieved of his duties. Will Parkinson and Frankie V join us now. Gentlemen, wow, it never ends with this Jets team. Will, I'm going to start with you. What was your initial reaction when you saw Aaron Glenn come out and say, Steve Wilks, see ya?
Not remotely surprised. I think I asked a lot of people last week, and everyone kind of wasn't under the same impression that it's a matter of matter of if, not when. I thought they'd probably give him the last couple of weeks. I just think Glenn wants to probably do right by a guy that like has had respect in the league at times, and you just don't want to always. You never, as a head coach, want to be the guy that's like firing coordinators. It's something that other people around the league look at, right? They want to see what kind of leash you have and stuff like that. But at the same time, I think it reached a breaking point, and I think Glenn said it, this morning, and it was very obvious that he's like, there's been no improvement. If anything, there's been regression, and it's, they were due for what they've done with the roster and the schedule, between Jacksonville, McDaniel obviously just calling plays in Miami, and then what I'm sure we'll experience in a few weeks with New England and Buffalo. They were due to get their dick kicked in. Let's just be honest here. It was overdue. Is it acceptable? No, obviously it's not. And I think this was always a sink or swim year for Steve Wilks. He drowned, and it's time to move on. And I think it gives them a couple week window here to see if Chris Harris has got some juice. He's got a pretty difficult, couple of weeks in terms of his debut as a DC. But I'm not surprised, Jake. I'm more surprised, I guess, just in terms of, did he give him the last couple of weeks and just let the season kind of ride out? But I think they kind of had to do it here because it was so bad the last 2 weeks.
Frankie, what about you? What was your initial reaction when you saw the news of Wilks being fired?
Well, listen, I don't think it's surprising that he's not going to be our DC next year. I just think that the timing of it was a little bit surprising. Something happened yesterday that sort of pulled my antennas up a bit. Players did not want to speak to the media after the game. Outside of Sherwood, Quincy didn't want to speak. Jermaine Johnson didn't want to speak. And then the way Aaron Glenn spoke about Steve Wilks sort of made me believe that there was something going on there. So between that point and this morning, something I think happened there where either the players went up to Glenn and go, we're not playing for this guy. This scheme is terrible. He's making us look bad. Or Glenn confronted Wilks and they got at each other a bit, because there's no reason, let's be honest. You don't want this PR out there. You don't want this news to hit front page like it always does, it seems like with us, that you fired a DC when the season's lost and over anyway. Why would you do it now versus 3 weeks from now or a month from now? So that tells me something happened. I think I'm speculating it was player related. I know Kaz said on Gangs All Here, he did a pod with Rye earlier, that players were not happy in the locker room, especially guys on defense after this game. They were very, very frustrated. I don't know, but the timing was odd, wasn't it? I mean, why do you have to do it now? We've had PR nightmares here for years. Why not just wait till the season's over? Does it make a difference? No, it doesn't make a difference really one way or the other. He wasn't going to be, again, like I said earlier, our DC here next year anyway. So what difference does it make? But the players are not happy, clearly. Or Glenn got in Wilks' face and said, what the hell are you doing, man? And they might have gotten into it a bit. And he said, you're done, dude. I mean, one of those two situations had to have happened, right? I don't think Glenn just saw the tape and said, oh, this is so bad, I'm just going to, relieve the guy right now. I mean, I doubt that.
I think the tape kind of confirmed what he was thinking maybe during the game, because to your point, Frankie,
yeah,
you made a comment yesterday, we're running the Wilks systems. He basically right then and there, without those comments, passed all the blame on Steve Wilks. Oh, it's not my system we're running. I'm letting Steve Wilks, veteran DC, who I hired so I could be hands off and coach the whole team, we're running his system. That was the first warning sign. And then I bet you, honestly, he did watch the tape. And in the last two games, there's no progress that we're seeing. They allowed 82 points the last two games. They allowed 31 points at halftime yesterday. They no-showed the previous week against a division opponent. I mean, this had to be done. I guess you could have waited 3 more games and really just went full-on tank with Wilksing it up for 3 more games here. But I think there could have been a player revolt in the locker room, Will, if they didn't do something. Like when I see a guy like Jermaine Johnson not want to speak, and he's one of the, quote, leaders on the team, that to me, that's when my antenna popped up yesterday. Like, oh, man, like they must really, really be at their wits' end with the scheme and the coaches and Wilks in particular if that guy's not going to speak. So that to me was a big thing yesterday that happened. And then, again, Glenn trying to distance himself at the podium yesterday, that to me was another sign of, uh-oh, this could be coming.
Yeah, he distanced himself after the Miami game as well. I think Kaz did a great job. Shout out to Kaz. He's had a really good year this year, especially post-game, asking the questions that I think that what really need to be asked. Obviously he asked the stuff in London and he got some whatever, but he did a really good job. He asked Glenn last Monday, a week ago, saying, Glenn basically said, I'm going to evaluate everybody. And he was pissed at the coaching staff. And that was a pretty good sign to me. And then I asked and that was like he's not happy, and he shouldn't be happy, right? Like, look, we've all made this reference, and Glenn's referenced Detroit a lot, but this is the exact same thing that happened in Detroit. Dan Campbell hired Glenn, first-time play caller. In a lot of ways, I know people are going to roll their eyes now, but in a lot of ways had a very Tanner Engstrand first year where, like, you saw a lot of principles you really liked, and the scheme, the players sucked. So it was, like, hard to tell if Glenn was actually a good DC, a bad DC. The talent was so bad that first year. And then he hired the veteran, right? And Anthony Lynn, former head coach, let Campbell be the CEO type, hands off. Same thing here. Like, Engstrand shown a lot of promise. We think the talent's not good enough. Obviously, we know quarterback play has not been good enough to really see Engstrand's scheme fully flourish. And then, on defense, he hired Wilks, right? The former head coach, run the defense, the whole 9 yards. And the scheme, guys, has been very, very basic. They went in the beginning of the year, they were a heavy man coverage team. They go zone on first and second, man on third down every time. In the back half of the year, they played a little bit better. Again, some backup quarterbacks and things, and the weather changes, so take that with a grain of salt. but they then went to just like they sit in cover 2, soft zone. They blitz one guy. It's either a nickel or they blitz one of the linebackers through the A gap. They never get home. They don't tackle well. They don't take the football away, and they fall for every play action boot that's ever existed. So it was time. It was probably time a month ago. But again, if you're a head coach that's going to be looking to hire a new DC and you fired the previous guy in 10 weeks, it's just you can't do it. And I know everyone's like, wow, you should have done this a while ago, guys. Like, I understand, and I totally understand. Like, we all wanted Wilks gone after week 1, right? Like, we all saw the writing on the wall, but it's the same. You just couldn't fire him so early in the year because it's just a bad look. And I think they didn't want to let it go throughout the whole year because to show like this was really bad. And you almost distanced yourself from the stench of these last couple of weeks. And then, so yeah, I mean, again, the scheme has been bad. It's basic. It's very outdated. I think Wilks is a nice guy, and I think people probably like him personally, not off the field level, but on the field, it just hasn't been good enough. The usage of some of the players, guys, was odd in the beginning of the year. Guys were put in weird situations. And I don't know if you guys agree with this, but again, I think I've crushed the linebackers because I think they've been a huge red flag to me this year. But I will say there's been a lot of communication issues, and you wonder, is that all just on the players, or is that some on the coaching staff too, and the DC not putting these guys in the right position to know what they should be doing down in and down out?
Let me say one thing. Will, what you just said is so true. Any play action bootleg that
the first play of the game yesterday, it was
first
like
play of the game, literally the first play of the. Now you would think Steve Wilks or maybe Glenn too has to have a meeting about this. Let's blitz them the first play of the game. Let's send a corner off the edge the first play of the game, or a linebacker, right? I mean, like if they're going to play action, they want to misdirection, you hit the quarterback right in the face. I mean, like when they had, it was 7 yards, and that wasn't even well timed by Jacksonville. They could have gone a lot more into that. I think the throw was a little bit behind the player there. But yeah, this defense all year has just been one step behind everyone. It seems like
Commander Isaiah Oliver is being placed on IR. Horrible for the tank. One of the worst players I've watched all year. The entire NFL.
Hey, it had to be done though, but I question a little bit the timing. I'm sure there's a reason for it. I mean, like if Glenn maybe wants to keep that locker room intact and wants his players to believe in him, and he preaches accountability, he got rid of a vet there because that's not something you want to do. And remember, Steve Wilks also in his past, he's been prematurely fired before, of which there was an NFL investigation about it. So like, you gotta, it was weird that it happened. That's another thing. I'm like, Wilk's the last guy you want to prematurely fire from.
Look at the resume. This guy has been Mr. One and done. I mean, you see it on this was his sixth.
He wasn't even one and done here,
job,
Jake, because he didn't do it. He didn't get a full one.
Right. He didn't even make it. He couldn't even. And honestly,
14 and done.
So a couple more things on Wilks here, because like, again, it all goes back to Aaron Glenn, but I do want to make sure I mention this early for those just tuning in. We are giving away a sick item today to you diehard Jet fans who are still locked into this channel. I'm grateful for all of you. A signed Hall of Fame inscription Joe Klecko helmet is our daily raffle prize today. Make sure you enter before the show ends, and we'll spin the wheel at the end and give someone a chance to win. If you enter the raffle, you do so by sending in a $5 super chat or higher to qualify. $5 gets you one ticket, $10 super chat gets you two, so on and so forth. And tomorrow on the show with Robbie Sabo, it's our weekly raffle. We have a signed Darrelle Revis football, a signed Wayne Corbett jersey, and a signed LaDainian Tomlinson photo that we'll raffle away. So this is your last chance to enter that, and you can enter for your chance to win the Klecko helmet. Let me give some love to Mike Doramo, who I see is the first to do it. He is in the Asmaniac raffle for $5. Will and Frankie, what I want to bring up with Wilks is when you look at the hire in the first place, if we think back on it, why did they hire Steve Wilks, right? There's no history of Aaron Glenn and Steve Wilks working together. It's not like Aaron Glenn hired a guy who's going to run his exact defensive scheme. Like Saleh had Jeff Ulbrich, who was running the exact defense that Saleh wanted. They tried to basically mix and match the Wilks scheme with the Glenn scheme. That's what Steve Wilks said in the spring, that they were going to be able to collaborate on what their defense was going to be. Again, Glenn was never going to call the defense, which I never understood. You look around the league, Liam Cohen's calling plays for the Jaguars. Kellen Moore is calling plays for the Saints. All these new coaches come in with their expertise, and they stick with it. DeMeco Ryans calls the defense for the Houston Texans if you want to use a defensive guy. So if you go back to the very beginning, I understand you want to get a guy on the staff with previous head coaching experience, but again, you could question the hire from that standpoint, and we could question again why Aaron Glenn is not calling his defense. I think he should. That's what helped get him the job in the first place. What are your thoughts on some of the points I'm raising there, Will?
Yeah, look, I think that a lot of people felt like, in some ways, Wilks was wrongfully fired in San Francisco as well, because Kyle Shanahan, who's an amazing head coach but poops his pants in the second halves of Super Bowls, he blamed Wilks for them obviously choking there. And if Dre Greenlaw doesn't tear his Achilles, Wilks probably does get another year, right? And there's no need to have a scapegoat in that, or a fall guy, because they don't probably lose that Super Bowl. Now, again, I'm not saying that he was rightfully or wrongfully fired. It has nothing to do with that. It's just that a lot of people, I think, felt like, hey, veteran guy, well-liked, maybe he's gotten the short end of the stick in a few different jobs. And, in Arizona, I think that was a fair one where he probably deserves at least maybe to get a shot to start the second year. But again, he probably was just the wrong coach, and it is what it is. Point being, I think they wanted to have somebody that could come in and be kind of a stopgap. I don't think, and again, I'm not saying the Jets are doing this or aren't doing this, but I think we've talked about this a lot. This whole year zero thing really has amplified a lot more since the deadline. And I got to be honest, guys, they are from an organizational standpoint, it does feel like they're pretty actively tanking, and they've pretty actively tanking for a while, this year. And I think, not that the staff is, and not that the players are, obviously, but just look at the moves they've made since this point last year. And to some of them, they hired young coaches on on two sides of the ball that they were going to let grow. And I think they've been really good hires. They hired a DC that, worst case, he's a 1-year stopgap, and either Glenn takes over the play calling or they bring in a new DC. That's what in hindsight, it does feel like that was probably the plan. And hopefully Wilks does a good job, so he's retained. But if he doesn't, he's an easy guy to move off after 1 year. And I don't know. I'm not saying they're tanking, but really go through each move. Let's be honest, right?
Well, since the deadline, they pivoted, but that was because they got out to a terrible start. Their plan wasn't to start 0-7.
I do wonder, with those guys in hindsight, and again, we're just talking through it. I wonder even if they were 3-5 or 2-6 at the deadline. I don't know. Did they then move off of Q and Sauce in the offseason? You know what I mean? I just wonder, did they have the plan of I feel like it was all this entire roster, entire staff was a lot of you have a year, or they basically gave everyone to the deadline. Show me why you deserve to be here in 26. And they've changed just so much stuff over. I mean, again, they gave Fields every opportunity to figure it out. They gave Wilks every chance to figure it out. And some of these guys that have been maybe the wrong moves. But I don't mind the process on Wilks. I just think that was unfortunately the wrong hire. And I don't mind if DC is the hire you get wrong. I'm not coping for Glenn. I'm not shilling for him at all, but it's really hard to fix offensive coordinator if you botch it. It just is. It's really difficult. It feels like it's really difficult to fix quarterback, obviously. Defensive coordinator, there feels like there's more options, Jake. Even in Frankie, you go through some of the names out there, whether they're assistants currently that would be promoted to DC, whether there's guys that are former, retreads, former head coaches. If you look at the offensive coordinator or potential head coach guys' names out there that teams are looking at already versus the DCs, the DCs you get excited about, the other ones you don't. So again, I'm not shilling for Glenn, but I do think that thankfully, they might have gotten offensive coordinator right, which is so much harder to fix, especially where they're likely to have a young quarterback coming in versus a defensive coordinator, which is just, I don't know. It's a lot more fixable, it feels like, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Glenn saw things in Steve Wilks that he thought he could depend on when it came from, to his background. Steve Wilks was a former D-back in college, granted, D-backs coach, right? And they're similar in age. Glenn's older than we think. Glenn's 53. Wilks is 56. Wilks was a former head coach. Like, I just think he saw Steve Wilks and had confidence in, or thought he could confide in him to get through this process of being a first-time head coach, Jake. And Will, that's the only thing I can think of, honestly. Almost called you Will.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Show.
Fireable offense. No, I mean, it was not the right move. And I don't, though, understand how Aaron Glenn, I think he had all this confidence in Steve Wilks to just run that defense. He didn't want to get involved. I mean, like, man, at some point, you got to get involved.
You're a defensive coach. Like, I don't want to hear, it's the Wilks.
Jake, he doesn't view himself as a defensive coach. That's the issue here. I don't think we realize this. And I'm not trying to cut you off because I agree with exactly what you just said, that statement.
Right, but he's definitely not an offensive coach, right? So what's Aaron Glenn? So that's my big issue with this. Right, but he's not a very good one right now. Like, what does Aaron Glenn do well? In the past couple of weeks, people would try and cape for the guy and say they play hard for him. You can no longer say that when you've been publicly embarrassed these last 2 games. Once by a division opponent that you're going to need to beat to have any chance of having success, and they never beat Miami. Again, they disgraced themselves this year against them twice. And yesterday was a joke, man. I mean, again, they allowed 48 points. They allowed 31 at halftime. That was a name your score type of game. So, like, what does Aaron Glenn, the head coach, do well right now, other than the fact he played for the Jets 30 years ago and fans want to give him a break for that? Like, there's really nothing you could point to that he's done well as a head coach. You want to say he hired Chris Banjo? Great, but I'll give all the credit to Banjo on that. And even if we want to give Glenn some credit for that hire, that to me is not enough for me to feel really good about him going forward. I don't care how much cap space they have or how many draft picks they have. Ultimately, if he doesn't improve as a head coach, we're not going to win anything, Will.
Yeah, look, I think Glenn needs to improve 100%. I guess I'm probably the least hard on Glenn of the 3 of us, and that's fine. Like, that's what makes, I think, people enjoy the 3 of us doing this, because we all kind of have a different. I think Glenn, to me, the things he's improved on, unfortunately, in a lot of ways, I just don't know if we can, like, I don't know if we're going to get to see enough of, because of just how bad some of the talent is on this roster. Like, I know people are going to fight me on this, but, like, I do like that he's been way more aggressive than Jets coaches in the past with 4th downs and going for it and different things like that. I do. Again, maybe people can, and that he's involved analytics in their in-game scripts. Like, to me, that's important for potentially being able to figure it out. Again, he's not been good enough. So before people get angry about that, but, like, I think that's something that's important. I do think up until, I don't know, 6 quarters ago, I did feel like they were playing really hard for him with a really young roster that had nothing really to play for. I was impressed at least with the effort level. They weren't no showing ever, which I thought is something that you can usually at least build on potentially.
And now it's taking a big step back in that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, like, as much as I thought that stretch there, where it was a 6-week stretch that I thought was pretty refreshing. They had 2. I thought they played competitively against New England and Baltimore when they were seriously undermanned, and they won the other 3 games. And I was like, oh, they're trending in the right direction. I thought everyone, even the most staunch Glenn, I don't want to call it hater, but whatever, someone that didn't think he was a great coach or good coach even would have been like, hey, I see improvement. The last 2 weeks, I think part of why Wilks is gone is it's gone so much in the opposite direction that Glenn's like, and credit to him. And again, it's a bad hire, so he deserves the heat for hiring him. At the same time, thank God he moved off of him and actually just, like, owned the mistake. The biggest issue I've seen with the Jets throughout, first of all, they usually make the wrong initial choice on coach or quarterback or these other things, but they never move off them in a timely manner, guys.
You're right about that. I agree.
He's done a really good job this year, just in general, in my opinion, of they've got some things wrong. They added the wrong defensive tackles in free agency. And again, 1-year stopgaps, whatever, but they realized those guys sucked and they cut them. And they traded for guys, and they actually made a kicker. They made the wrong move. They brought in Folk, returner, Gibson. Should they have cut Gibson in camp? Yeah, guys, absolutely. They should have just moved on initially, but at least they've righted the wrongs. The issue is right now is that, like, quarterback is still such a massive issue. Defensive coordinator was such a massive issue, and talent is such a massive issue, which Glenn is the pseudo GM as well. So as much as he gets a lot of the credit for acquiring some of these picks and cap space and all these different things, you also get heat for paying Justin Fields, right? That's my point, is, like, I think all the good stuff he's done this year, unfortunately, it also gets canceled out by some of the stuff they've made mistakes on. So it's really hard to evaluate, like, is he not a bad coach that's just young and has no talent? or is he a bad coach and they have no talent? You know what I mean? Like that's the line I feel like is a little hard to decipher, and it's kind of just where you whatever you thought of him initially, it's kind of you're still stuck there. You're not really sure has it gotten better or worse, indifferent. You don't really know what to do with it, I guess.
Let me say one quick thing. Glenn said something yesterday that was mind-boggling to me. And I texted Jake about this when we were talking about this. He goes, "Oh, it's not about X's and O's." It's not about X's and O's. Did you see what Trevor Lawrence did yesterday? By the way, Trevor Lawrence, not to bring this up again, I'm sure people saw the Hard Rock tweet, which I didn't even know the Hard Rock tweeted about stats, but the Hard Rock had a tweet, and it's true, actually. Trevor Lawrence is the first quarterback ever in NFL history to throw for 300-plus yards and 5 passing touchdowns and have 50-plus rushing yards and a rushing touchdown, 6 total touchdowns.
His rushing touchdown was, I think, what got Wilks fired. I feel pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, that's
the worst play Will McDonald's had in his career as a Jet, and I don't think it's close. I don't know what that was. I don't know. It was a
Trevor looked like he was going to trip at a point, right? Like
he should have been a 15-yard. That was that was one of those plays in like 2014.
That was the Shedeur Sanders sack.
Yeah, it's like a 2014 Jets play where it's like the guy's running around there, and it's like 3rd and 26. They have a guy for a sack, and it's a 40-yard penalty. Like yesterday was just, again, I understand.
Yeah, but Will, last thing, he came out with 10:40 left in the fourth. If Trevor Lawrence stayed in that game,
he would have had 7 or 8 touchdowns.
8 would have been an NFL record, by the way. And you're telling me, and by the way, do you remember that play in the red zone where he just typical, that's where Trevor Lawrence isn't in that top 10 convo or even close because he just launched that. Remember, he held it too long with Bretton Strange, and it just so like. You're telling us after a game it's not about X's and O's when your defense got slashed. It was like they were playing offense on air. Sorry, Will, but like don't gaslight us. Oh, it's not about he gaslight us. Oh, it's not about X's and O's, everybody. Don't put the blame on me because I'm a defensive guy and I can go through X's and O's. It's about something else. So what, the players aren't playing hard now again? Whatever. Yeah, it's ridiculous, man.
This league is all X's and O's. All of it. The modern NFL. Yes.
60% of it is.
And the Jets are always out coached. And again, if Glenn's not going to call defense, which was the reason he got the job because of his success there, right? Then what exactly does he do as a head coach? You can't say they play hard for him. They don't. They've been embarrassed the last 2 weeks. That shouldn't happen if your team is playing hard for you. It's all about X's and O's. And the Jets are always behind the 8 ball schematically every week.
I just think, unfortunately, I guess it's not unfortunate, right? Depends on where the side of the fence you're on this. But I guess I'll say, unfortunately, in my opinion, like he's used a lot of the sweat equity with the fan base now, where next year there's even an enhanced amount of pressure, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing, as much as I and some people can maybe disagree and agree, whatever. They have a ton of money. The stadium's been empty for a month now. They've fired their DC. They've had all these different issues. In a good way, they have all this opportunity to drastically improve, right? Like first of all, they're not very good. So improving is it's a matter of perspective. I mean, they could win 7 games next year and we'd all be throwing a goddamn parade. But the point being, like, I feel like, again, like some of the good stuff Glenn's done has been canceled out by some of the other mistakes. And again, next year you'd hope that it goes from 50-50 or whatever to 75-25, where like, dude, no one's saying that they can't make mistakes. And like, it's just unfortunately where they've gotten stuff wrong is the places I think you can't really be getting it wrong. Right. And like, I don't know, they have to figure out quarterback. And until they do that, a lot of these situations, like a lot of these different things, I will say, I guess this in a good way, this has exposed a lot of the guys we thought maybe were building blocks that might not be building blocks here. They might not be. We might have overrated how good Will McDonald or Jermaine may be. We might have overrated what Quincy and Sherwood are as a pairing. Like I felt really good about that pairing coming into the year, and I don't feel great about it now. I thought the edge room needed 1 guy. It might need 2, right? Like I think on offense, like I actually weirdly feel better about the infrastructure on offense than I do on defense, which I can't believe I'm saying out loud for a Jets team that is like last in the league in scoring, yet I actually feel decent about their infrastructure. Point being, like, they need a lot of help. They need probably, guys, 5 new starters on defense and a new defensive coordinator. And on offense, they need a quarterback. They probably need a running back of some sort, in addition to at least 1, if not 2 receivers. And after they figure out left guard, like there's just a lot there. So there's a huge room for improvement. Glenn, it seems like, and Muji together had hit on the top of the draft, which is good. It's going to be a matter of, can they hit on day 3? Can they make a couple more of these trades for, the Harrison Phillips, Jawan Briggs type Brownlee guys, and on day 3, can they do the NBA style trade for Jesse Bates to be the other safety he makes $19 million next year if the Falcons clean house? Like, the new regime probably doesn't want to pay a 29-year-old safety. Guess what? The Jets have a ton of cap space. Go trade a 6th-round pick for him, and you eat all the money, and now you solve safety. You know what I mean? Like, they need to be in that market. And lastly, guys, I know we'll get to, I'm sure, defensive coordinator candidates. They have got to hit on a defensive coordinator whose scheme is in the 21st century.
Modern.
And I'm not even asking, like, I don't need the Robert Saleh scheme that is kind of very much was a thing 15 years ago. You need to have elite talent to execute. I want like a normal, this scheme works in 2025. Someone from Houston, similar scheme, but that talent's amazing there, obviously. The Rams, someone from Chicago, someone from not Dallas this year, previous Dallas. That's why I'm going to get to Al Harris. But the point being, like, good modern scheme that can lead men, and Glenn then can be like, I've now made 3 good hires, and all of them actually can help impact the game on Sundays.
Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. Before we get to defensive coordinator candidates, Will, what do you guys make of this tweet from Sauce Gardner? He might be too injured to play, but he still has his fingers working to tweet. He tweeted this, then deleted it. I don't even know if it's still up there because Sauce always tweets and deletes.
He tweeted twice and deleted them both.
How many times? What percentage of Sauce's tweets about football teams does he delete? I mean, like,
it's probably got to be 50-50.
Yeah, right? Something like that. Yeah.
Nobody tweets and deletes better than Sauce Gardner. But what do we make of this tweet? He tweeted, for those listening on podcasts, current/former players that Coach Wilks coach knows he's one of the best/smartest defensive coordinators in the NFL. It's not always what it seems. My initial reaction is Sauce is taking a shot at Aaron Glenn. Frankie V, what was your reaction?
He's taking a shot at the guy that traded him. I think that's just to me, like, I'm not trying to be like, I understand why it's a story, but this is the most classic case of someone dumped you, and it's like, oh, get to get a nice little shot in. I don't know. I mean, they really they love Wilks that much that Wilks probably in on trading him too. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, my reaction is something else Sauce says that I could not disagree with more. That makes absolutely no sense. Steve Wilks is one of the smartest defensive coordinators in the NFL. Based on what I've seen all year, the scheme they're running all year, does he seem like one of the smartest defensive coordinators in the NFL? Again, what Sauce Gardner says means nothing. He's not one of the smartest people in the NFL. He's probably at the bottom of that list. So I don't really take what he says seriously at all.
Thank you for the draft picks, is what I would say to Sauce.
Sorry, I can't. That guy, I'm so glad he's out of here.
And AD Mitchell.
Me, Jake. I love it. Wait, no, I love. Oh yeah, thanks for AD Mitchell. Yes, I love AD Mitchell. I'm gonna get an AD Mitchell jersey, maybe.
One of the few positives from yesterday's game, yes. AD Mitchell doing his thing. Jersey Jet with a super chat. AG got in Wilks' face, then kicked him in the, I believe that is what's supposed to be a nuts emoji or something similar. Mace B with a super chat here. Watch Bills, Pats, and Denver Packers. So many terrible decisions by all 4 coaches, bailed out by players. I feel bad for Glenn as he's let down by players and lack of talent. Let's cut him slack. Well, I don't think he's getting fired, Mace B, so we have to root for his improvement. But again, any Jet fan who's hesitant on this head coach, I don't blame anyone for feeling that way. There's been very little for you to really grab onto to feel good about the direction this team is going, even with the cap space and the draft capital. If you don't have a head coach, you're not going to win in this league. So we're Jet fans. We're rooting for Aaron Glenn to do well, assuming he remains the head coach. But again, it comes back to what we've been talking about. It's tough to really find a whole lot to feel confident about. You could try, but it's not easy. Taylor.
Jake, Will said something before, though, I think that's important, and he brought it up a few times. The quarterback matters, obviously.
Of course.
And, like, we're trying to always judge these coaches with awful quarterback play. And I'm a prisoner of that myself. Oh, shit on a coach, Saleh and Glenn. They don't have the quarterback play. Who knows? Maybe if they had some stability there, they might look a little different.
I think what's concerning, though, no, 100%. But I think what's concerning in Glenn's particular case, this guy not only brought in Fields, but was so adamant on how they're going to be the ones to coach him up. And he's never played worse. Like Glenn's mantra was, it's all about coaching and player development. And who's developed on this team? Who's better on defense than they were a year ago? Maybe Jawan Briggs. That's the one name we could point to. Like, that's concerning. Again, he said he was going to coach up Fields, that he'd never been coached properly. He had never played worse. And I'm not defending Justin Fields. He's terrible. He sucks. And I don't think he's actually hurt. How about that one? But ultimately, like, he's never been this bad in his career. So that's concerning to me because, again, he's now going to be likely overseeing the development of a rookie quarterback. And that's alarming, I think, for any long-suffering Jet fan here.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the Fields thing is, I don't want to get started on this because I will blow a blood vessel in my head if I start talking about Justin.
You like
Fields.
Seeing him yesterday smoling with some sunglasses on,
sure.
like he was in Aruba or something?
Mr. Knee soreness after not practicing and playing. Nothing better than that. Being Zach Wilson 2 times in 2 years with quote unquote injuries. Because you don't want to hurt your future stock in the NFL, even though no one wants you. I would say there's a better chance that Justin Fields is out of the league in 2027 than he's in the league. He will be a backup somewhere next year on minimal money, and he will probably be in the CFL or out of the NFL in 2027.
Don't tell that to his delusional fans on social media.
Justin Fields fan club or whatever that AI bot's name is. I'm reading this tweet I just saw it from Bill's fan reporter. I don't know what his thing is. Aaron Glenn, a defensive-minded head coach, ruined the only thing the Jets had going for them. He also alienated local media about being an asshole. Awesome start. He fooled a lot of people. I would argue he exposed an extremely overrated defense and that we now don't have to fool ourselves, including myself, that they're actually an elite unit anymore. They were an elite unit in 2022 and 23. They are not good anymore. They gutted the talent on that roster on the defensive side. I'm glad that they look bad on defense. You know why? Because now we know they need to add much more than what they have currently. It's not just a coaching issue. It's a talent issue as well. And I'll keep saying it, like, this year, the way it's going, and unfortunately it's gone this way, Jake and Frankie, I think none of us wanted to be in this situation talking, tanking and draft picks and stuff at this point. But, like, man, I want everyone that's not good to be continued to be exposed that they're not good, right? Even some of the depth pieces, like, they just had to hang on to Isaiah Oliver because he was a solid guy. He's very bad. He cannot play real reps. Like,
why'd they re-sign him though? Like, why'd they re-sign him and Tony Adams? Like, they will. Like, I get what you're saying. That's now where we're at. Mm-hmm. But they thought they were going to be good this year. Anyone who's trying to tell you otherwise is not being honest. They gave Fields the contract they did and said what they said about coaching him up because they believed that a team that a year ago had the lead 7 times in the fourth quarter and lost, which broke a franchise record with better coaching, would win some of those games. They thought that they were going to be able to have this ground and pound identity.
If Nick Folk's the kicker last year, then they're probably at least 4 wins-ish better.
Yeah. Right? Why'd they split the Rodgers cap hit if they thought they were going to suck this year?
That I can explain. That one I've gotten an explanation on. So basically, 2 things. One, by splitting it, they were able to, like, save enough money to acquire Briggs, Phillips, and Brownlee, I believe. And then when they also split it, they essentially they get a $7 million cap credit back from this year towards next year, so it'll be split more evenly. And with the cap going up, it basically, like, if you're paying interest on a credit card, the interest rate was going to go down essentially, or almost stay the same, but you get a bigger limit next year. So, like, instead of paying 10% on the dollar all in one year, they basically split it out to be, like, almost equally 5 and 5, but the cap's going up, so, like, it'll take up less percentage. So I agree with you, and it's a very convoluted, ridiculous way of going about it.
Yeah, it sounds like that's a little spin from in-house trying to justify a bad decision. That's what I think of that horse shit answer there. So please, I'm not listening to it well, but I appreciate you trying.
I'm trying here.
You know what? Yeah. It wasn't that bad of a point. I'm just saying.
Again, there are so many things they did that pointed to the fact that they thought they were going to be better.
You want to know what move really pissed me off in hindsight? Joe Douglas redid Devontae Adams' contract for absolutely no goddamn reason, only to then cut him, and they would have had to eat $0, and instead they had to eat $20 million or whatever it was. Not 20 million. They had to eat like 8, 9, 10 million, whatever it was. I don't have the number off the top of my head, because he just had to redo his deal and give him more guaranteed money when you could have just said, play out the season, and if you're good and Rodgers is still here, we'll bring you back, or else you'll walk for free. That looking back at how dumb that was, that's one of those ones that, like, no one talked about at the time. And it was like, I even at the time was like, oh, it makes sense. They lowered his cap hit and they'll bring him back. They didn't bring him back, and he was never coming back, obviously, without Rodgers. But like, why in the hell did Joe Douglas get to do that? And then to get fired like 5 weeks later? Like, what the hell was that?
Well, and Jake, I think this whole organization got sideswiped after that whole Rodgers ordeal. Like it's like a fucking, you're on a highway going 90 miles an hour, and bam, a freaking semi truck just takes you out. Like, they didn't know what hit them, man. Honestly, they have no idea, and they're still trying to recover the pieces right now. It seems like they had to hire a head coach. Then the head coach, another reason, Jake, with Wilks, that Kaz brought up again with Ryan earlier, is it's tough sometimes when you're doing these interviews, you're finally getting the job, you're trying to figure out who the GM is, and then you have to hire the defensive coordinator on top of it. And you're kind of scrambling, I guess, a little bit. He's not saying that happened, but he's like that. It is.
You know what I mean? Like, they didn't work together. They don't run a similar scheme.
They actually he ran an opposite kind of scheme of Wilks in Detroit, actually, like schematically.
Heavy man coverage, blitzing, like pressure, They did cause chaos in Detroit. Like, I know people, I'm not saying Glenn was an amazing DC, but like, it's a far better DC than what Wilks is.
And they force turnovers, which is why it's crazy that has there ever been a defensive coordinator that's been fired whose unit didn't get one interception? Seriously.
No,
has there ever been a DC who got fired and his unit had 0 total interceptions while he was the defensive coordinator for this many games, right? Not talking about like an intern who's
we tied the NFL record for consecutive games without a pick. We're at 14. That ties an NFL record.
Unreal. We're going to get the candidates shortly. 2 quick super chats I want to acknowledge. Taylor in our raffle for 5. We suck. I'm not even sure where we're going from here as an organization. Divine intervention. Taylor, that's what we need. Mike Perez in the raffle for 2. Wilks was so smart that Sauce was having his best year. # thanks for the picks. We appreciate the 2 first-round picks for Sauce Gardner. Will, you came out with a great list on your podcast earlier for Jets DC candidates. Break down what your dream scenario would be and some names to potentially look at for the incoming Jets defensive coordinator.
Yeah, so I put together a short list. I did in 3 tiers. So I did tier 1 was not in the order of tier 1 of what I want, but tier 1 would be like the Wink Martindale, Jim Schwartz, Rex, that the crew of the big name DCs that are like former head coaches that have, been fired, or guys that are like the big name DCs, the Greg Williams of the world back in the day, whoever that may be, right? So like those type of names. I went and did the current head coaches that are likely to be fired that would have connections to the Jets in some way. Raheem Morris, Todd Bowles. I don't know that Todd would come back here. I do think Todd would be a really good DC. He's always been a really good DC in the league. I'm kind of anti doing the whole, like, just continuing to go to the well of the older school coach. But Glenn did work. He did coach Glenn, obviously, when he's here at the Jets and then in Dallas. And Todd's won a Super Bowl as a DC. So, like, it wouldn't be the worst hire, right? And Todd, again, obviously knows this market well. So I think he could handle it. Raheem Morris is from the area and went to Hofstra. By all means, the nicest dude ever. And he had a nice run. He's had a nice run as a DC. I think I'm good on that one. I don't know that philosophy-wise they match up, and I don't want to do another philosophy mismatch with the head coach and the DC not having the same principles from a defensive perspective. Then there's the guys that are currently assistants that have either called plays and want a promotion or they have connections to Glenn in some form or fashion. Some of the names there, and I'll touch on 2 of them. Steve Klingsdale, with the Chargers, Christian Parker, with the Eagles, two hotbed names. So those are ones that haven't seen brought up. I would keep your eye on those. And then Al Harris and Jim Leonard for me are the 2 ones that, like, those would be home run hires. Leonard, everyone obviously knows, Jets fans know. He called plays and was a DC at Wisconsin, did a fantastic job, was really good there. Rex loved him, obviously, when he's here, is that kind of, quarterback of the defense and, kind of the, defensive coordinator's eyes and ears and stuff like that. When he was a player, really smart guy as a player. And then obviously, again, knows the market well, was a really good DC and was stepped in as an interim head coach at Wisconsin. He's been with Denver. So he's under that Vance Joseph tree, kind of chaos agent, type of defense, a lot of heavy man coverage, a lot of blitzing. We've seen it when the Jets have played them, which feels like every year. They're gonna blitz the shit out of you, and that's kind of that. So that would be that fits more of what Glenn kind of Glenn's philosophy would probably be from a defensive perspective. And then on top of that, again, Leonard worked with Muji, worked with Banjo, and Glenn's best hire he poached from Sean Payton's staff previously. So there's a connection there. I wonder if Sean would let him poach another guy. I don't know that for sure, yes or no. And if Vance Joseph gets a head coaching job, they probably would just promote Leonard to DC. If not, maybe they have a shot there. And then Al Harris is the last one. In Chicago, they are far and away the best EPA per play team in terms of turnovers. As a part of the Dallas staff, as assistant head coach and DBs there under Dan Quinn in 22 and 23, they were the top 5 and top 8 pass defense.
Doesn't that piss you off, by the way? The Lions offensive guy who's now in Chicago, their defense leads the NFL in forcing turnovers. We hired the Lions defensive
I wanted
guy.
Dennis Allen and Al Harris when we were in the interview process and they were looking at guys. But again, Al Harris has followed a very similar track to Glenn. Glenn, if you remember, was for 6 years under Sean Payton, but worked under Dennis Allen as his DB coach. And that's kind of where he really paved the way to get himself a coordinator job. Al Harris, again, is in that same role underneath Dennis Allen in Chicago and was with Dan Quinn. And Al Harris is a year younger than Glenn. They've played pretty much the entire of their NFL careers, kind of mirrored each other, both Pro Bowl and all pro level players. Harris had an interview 2 weeks ago, I believe, 3 weeks ago, where he said, my number one job as a defensive coach is to hammer to these guys that the most important thing is turning the football over and we will hunt the football. The Jets do not hunt the football currently. So that's just kind of an early on list. But if I was ranking it right now, the 3 guys or the top 4 guys ish that I would want, if Schwartz is available, guys, like I would totally understand that Browns defense is unbelievable. He was great, with Philly and Detroit and stuff like that. But some of the newer guys, Harris, Leonard, Clinkscale, and Parker, to me, are the names that would be the most exciting. And Glenn's done better with first-time hires as opposed to a veteran so far.
Jim Leonard would be, I think, the name every Jet fan would love. I don't know how realistic is. You brought up poaching another guy from Peyton's staff would be. But
what are you gonna? This isn't not a Woody sucks conversation, but how much are they going to be willing to pay for a big name DC like that? Leonard's going to cost. You're going to have to pay him big bucks, right? Like he's in a great situation right now. They're in a great defense. They're going to go probably. I'm not sure why my dog is going crazy, but I don't know. I wonder what type of money it's going to cost to bring in a guy like Leonard and pry him from a really strong organization.
I wonder if the Browns blow it up, what the rate for Jim Schwartz would be too, right? If you want like the best guy, because that guy has been amazing everywhere he's been. So I'm okay with someone who's, had a lot of experience. Like I understand the process with Steve Wilks, why they did it. It has to be a better fit for Glenn, and it has to be someone that is aligned with what the head coach wants to run defensively. Because again, if he's not going to call the plays himself, then I don't want the excuse to be a year from now, oh, well, we're running the so-and-so system. It's not my defense. Well, you're the head coach. You're a problem solver. Figure it out. That's your job.
Jake, would you be worried at all if they hire a guy as a first-time play caller?
Not necessarily. It would depend who. Like if it's Jim Leonard or Al Harris, I understand the thought process.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I keep coming back to Al Harris because I think it's the most realistic of the guys they could potentially poach. I don't know if they're going to be able to convince Leonard to both leave a job that he's been very specific, Jake, about whether he's willing to leave places. And again, I'm sure he had a good relationship when he was here. And, Glenn's got a great relationship with Peyton. And again, Banjo worked with him and maybe there's some connection there. But like Al Harris working under a guy that Glenn has a relationship with, both a DC and head coach, and seeing what they've been able to do. They're 20th in DVOA as a defense right now, but they're number 1 in EPA per play in terms of turnovers, which means like what Al Harris is teaching, he's not the primary play caller, right? He's just an assistant. He's assistant head coach, but man, having some principles, and honestly, maybe Glenn kind of helps him early on here and like does the CEO thing, but can be a part of helping, an Al Harris who's never called plays before. I don't know. Like I almost would like the idea of this kind of a more new, just a fresh idea as opposed to, I love Wink and, and Schwartz and Rex and all those guys, but like sometimes there's always this weird dynamic with some of these guys where they take over the defense and they kind of act like they're the head coach. And it's like, I'm not saying this should be a thing, but this does happen. It happened with Greg Williams. It happened with Wink, with Daboll, right? Where like they got into it and those guys last like 18 months in a spot because the coaches end up hating each other. I would be okay with a veteran, but I almost liked the idea of like Engstrand's been really exciting because he is a first-time play caller and he does have new ideas and had a good coaching tree he was coming from. Like Al Harris comes from Dan Quinn and Dennis Allen, like that's pretty in the 2020s and 2010s. Like there's not 4 or 5 better defensive coordinators, the guys you'd want to be under, right? Like Frankie, I don't know if you agree with that, but like those are 2 good systems, man. Aggressive. They mix the zone. I think right now the Bears are 50 or 30% man, 70% zone, but they mix and match. They 50-50 between, middle field open, middle field closed. Like they're mixing and matching coverages. They're turning the football over. Like
the opposite of everything the Jets defense is.
Harris and Glenn, and if you're
did you see what the Bears did to Shedeur Sanders yesterday?
Yeah,
I mean, they had that guy in hell. Granted, he had 4 of his starters out up front.
All Jerry Judy's fault.
Yeah, it's always everyone else's fault. You know that.
Where's Josina at, by the way? By the way, can I show you guys this tweet?
Our linebacker room tweet.
Oh my God! So this reads like it is a Jet head coach or a Jet assistant coach, right? Like honestly, tell me you can't picture Aaron Glenn saying this verbatim, but I will read it to everyone. So Josina Anderson, who I don't even know what outlet she works for these days, but she still tweets about Shedeur Sanders and the NFL. She tweeted
Me and Will did a post-game show with Josina Anderson a few weeks ago.
Oh, yeah. That's right. I forgot about that. So she tweets, league source, right? So, again, league source on Jets head coach Aaron Glenn firing Steve Wilks. Quote, when you give up 48 points that easy, shit happens. I hate that for Steve Wilks because he's a good dude. But between you and I, then proceeds to post the entire message. Our linebacker play has gotten worse. So you, again, have this person, a league source, saying our linebacker play, meaning it's obviously a coach or someone on the Jet staff in some capacity, maybe a player, who knows. Our linebacker play has gotten worse. You lose Quinnen Williams. You lose the element of inside pass rush. You have an undrafted rookie QB in there. We weren't expecting him to be Joe Namath, but obviously there is a disconnect out there with areas on the football team from a preparation standpoint. At the end of the day, we didn't play well. It's not all on Wilks. He was the defensive coordinator for the 49ers in the Super Bowl a few years ago and a former head coach. You just hate this shit happens. This either sounds like Aaron Glenn or someone very high up on his coaching staff, but like, what are we doing here, Josina? You completely just alienated and aired out your source. But what do we make of this quote here, assuming it is someone on the Jet coaching staff, Frankie?
Listen, I think, again, it's just the excuse making at one Jets drive just never ends. And I think until that ends, then you're not going to build any actual culture there. Yeah, I mean, these leaks, somebody said it's not a coincidence. I actually said it in a space earlier. Watch the stories coming out now with the firings once they begin. Like once Wilks is fired, someone's going to come out and say something. It might even be him.
The leaks, baby. We're leaking. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, man. We're the best at that, dude. The Athletic, their revenue's about to skyrocket real soon with what's about to happen here. Yeah, man. It sucks. It's annoying. I mean, Josina's always mysterious, so you never really know. But she's got sources, obviously. I mean, she's broken things before.
I just love how it says league source, and then there's a line in there that says between you and I, and then proceeds to post the entire message.
Who could it be? Well, what are we thinking, guys?
I think it's Glenn or someone.
I think it's a player. I think it's a player.
Player or coach, Will? Who do you think it is?
No comment.
Well, it could be. Maybe it's Will.
It might
I think it's either the head coach or the coach.
It might be Will. It might be you. Yeah.
I think I did that. That was me.
Yeah. I mean, you bring up that he's been, he brought the 49ers to the Super Bowl quite often.
Who's your source?
Yeah. You know, another defensive coordinator candidate, I had some audio issues, but someone I wanted to bring up just quickly, this guy, Christian Parker, who's from, did you bring him up, Will?
Yeah, I did, but that's a great shout. I was saying he's Parker and Klingscale are both two, like, Chargers and Eagles, like.
And he's from New Jersey, Christian Parker, too.
Local guy.
Yeah, and he actually became the D-backs coach in Denver, so you have that connection with Muji. He was a D-backs coach his first year when they drafted Pat Surtain Jr. So
and Vance Joseph scheme, that's going to be a lot of.
Yeah, he's 33. He's real young, but, like, he's someone different,
No, it's a great shout. It is. It's an awesome shout.
Yeah, I saw that somewhere, and I was like, oh, let me look into this guy. And he got there. He became the D-backs coach the same year Pat Surtain was drafted, and he has that Muji connection.
That's pretty good, huh?
Yeah, not bad. Yeah, he won Defensive Player of the Year. Not too bad. By the way, guys, this cornerback room, Stiggers, I know, is playing pretty well for the most part. I still am under the impression that Stiggers is a safety, but whatever, he's playing corner. That's another conversation in and of itself. They got to figure out what they want to do at corner because these guys, they can't guard anybody. And I'm just letting you know, if we come in with this, and I'm not saying draft a cornerback early because I'm not in that camp really, but you can't go into next season with these D-backs. I mean, you're not going to fix. I mean, you're not going to fix corner in one off season. You could fix safety, but they got to put something together at corner, some patchwork stuff, because these guys, they can't cover anybody.
I mean, a lot of work.
They need to hit the quarterback. Like no matter.
They need to get to the quarterback, so the quarterback doesn't have front. That's probably
I did this rant 800 times today, and I did it to end my pod. But the Jets need to go into free agency trades in the draft with a defensive coordinator that can help us out, has an identity. They have a scheme that we know what they're going to be looking for. They know what they're going to be looking for, and go find guys that are going to fit them, right? Like, it's not just about culture and all that stuff, and that stuff's awesome, but like, go into the offseason where, hey, this guy fits our scheme. And like, the one thing that Saleh did really good in 22 and 23 before they kind of just started getting way out over their skis was like, you could find guys that fit your scheme so you could build the defense the correct way. They needed linebackers that ran sideline to sideline. They need long corners that can play zone, and they needed edge rushers that can play in a wide nine and like lighter defensive tackles that can go upfield and play the run on the way to the quarterback. So they went and found your Bryce Huffs and JFMs and Quincy's and made sure Mosley, and they drafted a guy like Sherwood, and like everything made sense. They never got safety right, and the quarterback play was, obviously dog shit, and they couldn't overcome that in 22. But like, I feel like this offseason with defense, they obviously addressed more of the offensive side of the football this offseason. But I don't know, when you go into free agency, man, like go find yourself a linebacker and a safety and another defensive tackle that fit your scheme and say, this guy fits Jim Leonard's defense like a glove. We know he's going to be successful here. We need to adjust him to our scheme because we're not sure how he's going to adjust. Like, I don't know, man. Like that stuff needs to be a priority of Engstrand wants a receiver that does this, and they go out and find that guy for him because that's going to make them the most successful. Not, oh, well, I don't know. Maybe he fits us. Maybe he doesn't. We're just going to bet on the traits. We're not betting on traits anymore. Go bet on a guy that fits you like a glove. That's the way it needs to be going forward. And defensive coordinator hire again. If Glenn can get that right and they can have a plan at quarterback, a lot of other things will get solved. You can get away with having a bad third corner, and you can get away with having a bad tight end too. You can't get away with having bad coordinator play callers and no quarterback. You can't get away with it in the NFL.
Well said. Some super chats here, gentlemen. And before we do that, though, just let's do a quick update on how we feeling about the Tankathon standings. Jets have pick 18 from Indy. Right now, the Jets are at number 5 in the draft. We know what's on the line these last 3 games. Jets need to lose and get some help in front of them. That Giants versus Raiders game could be everything, with Mahomes unfortunately done for the year. Maybe there's a chance for a team like Tennessee to win a game against Kansas City, or even the Raiders who play the Chiefs the last game of the year to maybe win. But Will, I'll start with you. How are we feeling in terms of the Jets Tankathon positioning with 3 games to go?
I'm going to have to run after this. So how do we feel about the Tankathon? I think they end up picking 4th and 14th is what I'm going to go with. I think Indy falls a little bit. I think Dallas is going to not make the playoffs either. So they will have 4 top 50 picks or 45 picks, which is awesome. Whether you want to trade up, whether you want to trade for a veteran, whether you want to just add 4 good players. But I think they end up picking 4th. I think it'll be Raiders 1, Giants 2, Titans 3. I think the Jets will finish 4th. And then I think the Colts probably lose out. Or maybe they win 1 game, but I don't think they're making it in the dance. And I think that's going to be a top 15, 16 pick, which is massive. Whether you draft a quarterback or not, like, I don't know. My dream world, guys, is still, as of today, they take Reese at whatever pick. They take Mekhi Lemon, and then they trade for Jaden Maiava. And if Jaden Maiava stinks, they use one of the 3 first-rounders next year to go get one of these generational quarterbacks in the 27 class. That way, you've addressed quarterback. You've added a playmaker.
Oh,
you've
been
added
watching a lot of USC, haven't you?
Yeah, it could be somebody else. Like,
no, Lemon's great.
Like, I'd love to do the thing where like you have a shot with someone that can be competitive enough at quarterback, and then if it's not good enough, you use the 3 first-rounders next year to go get yourself the quarterback in the draft. But unless it's Burrow, obviously that's a different conversation. But I don't know. It's a Maeva, or you're trading for Tanner McKee. Like one of those to me, if you can't get him Mendoza or more, is enticing. And that way you can add, 4 guys in the top 45, 46 that should all probably be day one starters. It is, it's the end of the day. Like the Raiders.
Let me ask you something really quick, because before you go, because I wanted to ask you this. We're going to have a whole offseason talk about this. But do you think Mekhi Lemon, the one thing that worries me about him is his height?
Yeah.
Like he's got to hit 5'11 plus 6 foot.
Yeah. So
because that little difference.
He's actually 5'11 and a half is the problem.
Huh?
I don't know if he's actually 5'11 and a half.
I hope he's not close. If he's like 5'10, man, like and a half, I'm gonna be like, oh crap, man. Because like I compare him to like Puka, but Puka's 6'1 and a half. Like that inch and a half makes a difference. Like he's barely able to get up there, like
I know.
You think that's going to
such a damn good football player, and
he's awesome. He's amazing.
More Tate, whatever.
He's the best. I think he's the best receiver.
Oh yeah, I think he's the
draft.
top 5 player in the country of like pure football.
I agree with you. Yeah,
but like I don't know. Everyone did this thing with JSN and Amon Ra. They're like, oh, they're slot guys. It's like I don't know, man. They're 2 of the 5 best receivers in football. Justin Jefferson was a slot guy coming.
Yeah, I don't care.
He's pretty damn good in the NFL. Like.
You know what, Will? I'd rather have one of those guys. Sorry to cut you off. I'd rather have one of those guys, the slot guys, the across the middle guys in today's NFL, than I'd rather have just the Jameson Williams types that just can run streaks or stop and goes.
Yeah,
I'd rather have
nothing like if you're gonna have a young quarterback, like having a guy that can just go out there and catch 95 passes and be a security blanket for you is pretty important. It's part of why Jared Goff's as good as he is. Like Monroe's just always open, and I wonder if Lemon tests. That'll be the interesting thing is if he actually tests because. He was a 5-star. Like it's not like he was whatever, but Drake London didn't test, and he was still able to go in the top 10, and that's been a great pick. And then Amon Ra is like the last USC receiver that actually tested and dropped to the 4th round, which was obviously idiotic because he tested very mildly. But I don't know. They need like some tough-minded dudes that like are not going to accept losing. I just can't. I can't have Mope around here anymore. The Mope, Jermaine with the whole nah thing, dude. Quincy, buddy, get 4 touchdowns on 6 targets. Like, speak to the media and own it. Sorry. It is what it is. Like, you have 158 passer rating and 4 touchdowns. Like, saying you don't want to speak is insane. And
it was horrible.
He hasn't made a play in weeks, dude. Saying nah is kind of insane. I don't know.
You're up for a contract too, man. Like, this is
not
where
not a good look.
It's not a good look. These agents, if you're representing Quincy Williams, you call him this morning and you go, you're a moron, A. B, if you keep acting like this, I'm not going to represent you. I'm sorry to say that. Patty, you're up for a contract. Making moves like this, it's not even about us. Forget us, because he's not going to be back here. Other teams look at this stuff, man. You think they're going to do their homework on Quincy Williams in the offseason and not look at something like this? Forget the game. The game aside,
I mean, like the Niners, buddy.
Dude, it's just I don't understand. Like, and this is something else, guys. And I know this is about the defensive coordinator that we just fired, but let's talk about Aaron Glenn a little bit. If your guys are not prepared to talk to the media, that somewhat falls on you because of what you put out there. Like this us against the media narrative that he's been wanting to play up, or has these guys like fighting against the media. Like, first of all, I wouldn't play that war. And B, you're trying to play that war and losing. Like, you're making players look bad. You're looking worse with this war against the media. If you can't get these guys or yourself to just act professionally, just be a professional, answer the questions and go home. Say the most generic things. I know they've been losing forever. I know the streak's continuing without making the playoffs. I know everyone's tired. We're all tired. I look tired as hell. I look at crap. It's like, we're all sick of this. I mean, it is what it is, but get these guys to be professional. The media is not your enemy here. It's not. Your enemy is your opponent on Sunday. That's your enemy.
Yeah.
Same crap, man. It's like, I'm telling
you.
They're taking
Love it.
The coach with this stuff, guys.
Will, I appreciate you, man. Great stuff.
Man. I'll talk to you guys soon.
TOJ podcast, part of the Badlands Network. Will Parkinson with us. Frankie, I don't know your out time if you got to run, but I got plenty of calls still here.
15 or 20 minutes. I'm good.
Hang out and we'll answer some super chats. And for those of you tuning in
Let's
late,
go.
this is the last show. If you want to get in tomorrow's 3 signed jet item raffle, Revis football, Corbett jersey, LaDainian Tomlinson photo, and end of this show. That's right. Enter for your chance to win a signed helmet by the great Hall of Famer, Joe Klecko. Some super chats here. This one is from the big fella. I can't believe the Jets actually used a tax deference strategy for the cap. I understand now. Muji, 3 legs. Again, I'm not buying it, but that's what the Jets want to tell people. That is the behind the splitting up the Rodgers cap. That's fine. Ultimately, I think Muji's done a good job, and I'm more optimistic about him than I am the head coach. But look, and there's legit concerns with Aaron Glenn, and you could be an Aaron Glenn fan and root for him. I'm rooting for him as a Jet fan, but we got to be honest with what we're watching. Curly with a super chat. He wants to know, Frankie, what happens first? Jets make the playoffs or the next Haley's Comet sighting in 2061? He's flying out to New Orleans on Friday. I have mental illness. You do, Curly. And if the Jets win, I'm blaming you because now we all want the Jets to lose because at this point, there's no reason to win another game with 3 to go and everything on the line in the draft order. So if they win, Curly, you are banned from watching this show till the end of the year. If the Jets win this one game that you happen to be going to, all right?
Well, the question there, I think the better question, Curly, I think is a Super Bowl win for the Jets or Haley's Comet in 2061. Jake, what would you say there? Would you say?
I'll take the 2061 Haley's Comet.
Over a Jets Super Bowl win?
Yeah, I mean, it's 2025 right now. They're not even close, you know?
It's a 30-year rebuild.
History's on my side.
35-year rebuild, 36 years. Yeah, I mean, history is on your side, but also, like, you think, I don't know. That's a good question. I'd go with the Jets Super Bowl. You know, I'll be a little bit positive for once on this show.
There we
I've been
go.
negative all day. Okay.
City Bird. Burrow sounds like Andrew Luck with that press conference.
Those
Why
are
would the
weird.
Jets pursue him with a risk of immediate retirement? If he came to the Jets, he's not retiring. Again, I don't think he's going to go to the Jets because he's got a no trade and wouldn't want to waive it to be a Jet. I think that's the difference.
Yeah. The only way Burrow would want to come here is if someone convinced him that we have these bookend tackles and he likes Aaron Glenn and they're, filling that roster with pass catchers because of our 5 first rounders. I mean, we won't have 5 if we get Burrow, never mind. But yeah, I mean, if you could convince him on that, but it's not going to happen. Again, yeah, he'd have to waive that no trade and basically know where he's going to go and want to agree to it. It's not, he has a no trade.
Mr. Chill King, do you think Bart Scott would be a good DC coach? I mean, if Bart wanted to coach, I'd love to have him on the Jets staff. He's never coached before, so I wouldn't just make him the defensive coordinator.
Same, Jake.
And Bart has said this, right? And I've actually spoke to him about this when I worked with him at ESPN. Him and I are next Tuesday. Bart Scott and I are doing a show together from 10 to 2 on ESPN New York, so you can listen in. I'll talk to him about it on the air. Bart has said he would only coach if Rex was the head coach again, and Rex called him and asked him because he's very close with Rex. Bart would have to take a pay cut to be an NFL coach at this point. He's got a great gig on ESPN. He's on the radio. He's on SNY, does stuff internally for the Jets media team. Like, he doesn't need the long hours of being a coach. Do I think he'd be great at it? I do, but I don't think he wants to put the work in to actually be an assistant and work his way up. I don't think he wants to do it.
Yeah. And you can't just listen. You can't just hand Bart Scott the DC job. He's never done it before. He's never been a defensive coach.
Right.
I mean, I get the whole, history with Bart and his rah-rah and his emotion. And
he's smart. Like, you listen to him on TV.
Yeah,
he's
brilliant.
brilliant.
Very smart. Yeah, he's rationally smart. He makes great points. It takes more than that. You got to go through the gambit a little bit of just the coaching cycles and trees and stuff. But yeah.
Abdul says, would you guys want Rex or would he want the Jets DC job? If Rex wanted to do it, obviously I'd love Rex to be the DC. I don't think Rex's ego would allow him to be the DC of a team that has been dog bleep since the last time he was the head coach in the first place. And they chose Glenn over him when Glenn interviewed for the job. Rex got an interview too, and they went with Glenn. I just don't think, 1, Rex would take it. And 2, I don't know if Aaron Glenn would ever hire Rex.
You don't think Rex would take it?
I don't know. I think the second
I think Rex would. I think Rex would take it in a heartbeat, in my opinion. I think if you offered Rex the Jets defensive coordinator job, Jake, I think he'd take it in in a nano, bro. You know,
You don't think
like
that'd be
Trophy
beneath
says.
Rex to take it? Be the DC of the Jets, the team that hasn't made the playoffs since he was the head coach?
I mean, yeah, there's something there. I'm not convinced he'd take it, but I think he would though. I think he loves coaching. He loves the Jets. I think he wants to get back into it.
He wants to be a head coach, though. I think he'd be a DC for a different team.
Yeah, I
the
think
Jets.
those opportunities might have dried up though, man.
They have.
Think,
He's interviewed for DC jobs the last couple of years. He hasn't gotten one yet.
True.
Look, honestly, if Rex would be the DC, I'd rather him just be the head coach. Like, I'm sorry. I'd rather
have Rex run a coup. Have Rex
like,
storm one Jets drive, you know?
I also think Glenn wouldn't hire him because if he did, the second this team lost like 2 games in a row, people would be saying fire Glenn, promote Rex, and I don't know.
That's where the problem lies right there. If Rex were to be the DC, we go on another 3-game losing streak.
Yeah, I don't see this happen. I love Rex. I prefer for him to, I don't want to tarnish our memory of Rex and the 09 and 10 teams and that era. I don't see it.
Yeah. The thing. This is the thing, though. If we're comparing Rex Ryan to Aaron Glenn, right, and just like when they started, because I was watching a lot of Rex's initial interviews before he got hired, and I went on this sort of rabbit hole. I went into this rabbit hole after. Remember those Channing Crowder comments? He goes, "Yeah, I've stepped over guys going to bar fights tougher than Channing Crowder." Like that was before they even played a game. Rex Ryan came out before he coached a game in the preseason saying that he's not going to sit there. He's not going to kiss Bill Belichick's rings. They're going to have one of the toughest, best defenses in football. Like the stuff he was saying trumps anything we've really heard from Glenn. And I'm not saying Glenn is that kind of guy, but Rex totally owned it that he's a defensive coach and like he wants their defense to be the best in football. And it was the best in football for a few years. We had one of the best defenses in football. And, I think Glenn needs to take this like, I'm the CEO, I'm the quasi GM, I got all the keys, I'm making all the money, I'm the big shot here.
Which is amazing that he has all this power, given the fact he's a first-time coach. Yet he's the most powerful coach the Jets have hired since Parcells.
Absolutely. I think he's got to look in the mirror, and I think he has it in him, and he's got to have the mentality. I was saying this earlier. You got to be the guy that if you're the CEO and the bathrooms aren't clean at the end of the night, you get down and you clean the bathrooms. Like you do all the little things required for things to look and run smoothly. You can't say, Steve Wilks is our defensive coordinator. I'm not a defensive coach. I'm a head coach here. I'm the CEO, head honcho, and not get involved with the defense. Get involved with the defense. It's a bad look on you. You need as many wins as you can to plead your case maybe in a year and a half or 2. Like, don't let this thing fall away from you. He's a hard worker. I don't think he doesn't want to do it. I think we gave him the wrong impression coming here. We did. The impression these stupid sirens. The impression he got, Glenn, was that he's, the Jim Harbaugh kind of guy here. Like, dude, are you? Come on. And listen, that's on Tannenbaum. Sorry to shout out, your co-host. That's a little bit on him and Woody.
Please shout him out. We're gonna get into a shouting match, I suspect, on Sunday. I'm looking forward to it.
I mean, like, how do you give this guy such reign on an entire franchise? He's never been a GM, obviously.
He was a scout for 2 years, so that means he's qualified to be GM and coach. I mean, Parcells had that power because he was Bill Parcells. Again, no coach has had more power since Parcells. Like the Jets had never hired a coach who was GM and coach and had never been either before. He's never been a head coach before. So like they were banking on Glenn just being like the ultimate football czar, and hopefully he still can be and turn it around. But even if you're the biggest Aaron Glenn fan in the world, you were not expecting 3-11.
I'll say this, man. And obviously hindsight's 2020. And I'm not trying to play I'm not trying to be like a revisionist here with my opinions, but I never listened to Aaron Glenn in the offseason and said to myself, this guy's going to bring anything schematically that's special, like nothing. And that was an issue for me. Like the way he spoke about football, I thought was rudimentary. If that's
it was very like rah-rah.
That's
like,
what I'm
galvanize
saying.
the troops.
But yes, like I'm like, And I guess I'm kind of contradicting myself now because I just brought up Rex Ryan, but like I believed in Rex Ryan. Like
But
did.
Rex
like,
was also a defensive
and
genius.
he
too.
was. Yes, that is true. Yes, you're right. Yeah. I never got that sense that Aaron Glenn had any of that defensive genius in him. And offensively, forget it. Come on, you're going to come in and give a first-time OC all the keys to run the offense. A retread defensive guy that was not even in the NFL last year and let him run the show, and you're just going to sit in the middle of it? Like, you're fired. I mean,
it's tough,
they set up this season up for failure. Justin Fields, you give $30 million guaranteed to. What the hell did we expect to happen? Literally. Like, they got exactly what we thought. They might have even won a few more games than they should have, honestly. They're lucky to even have won
because
3
their special
games.
teams has been unbelievable.
You're right. Yeah.
Like, and think about it. They don't have a win without the special teams unit. Not a single win. They played a huge role in all 3 of the wins, especially the last 2, right? They don't beat the Atlanta Falcons without recovering a muff punt and Nick Folk hitting an unbelievable kick in the rain from 56 yards out. That's one example. They don't win the Browns game without a punt return and kickoff return touchdown in the same game. Like, they're a bad team, yet they have 3 wins, so they're not the worst team. But man, it's been rough, Frankie. I mean, their wins are against Dylan Gabriel, Joe Flacco, and aging Kirk Cousins. Like, it's not fun.
It's not, man. And it's, you know what, man? It's not fair to the fans also. It's really not at this point. I mean, like, Jeff fans support the hell out of this team. They do. They
the best
show
fans
up
in sports, the best.
easily. And I'm a Knicks fan, so I've seen another great fan base. I think the Jeff fans are even better, man. Like, pound for pound. They don't just show up to show up.
The Knicks have their own stadium, at least. We don't even have that as Jeff fans.
You know, and it's just, man, it's bad when the head coach comes out there and tries to gaslight us or the media or whomever and says it's not about X's and O's after that performance. It's insane. Like, it's ridiculous. Is that not gaslighting 101? I'm not great with vocabulary, so excuse me. But, like, to me, that's like, you're telling me it's not about X's and O's when I just saw a quarterback throw for 5 touchdowns, which he's never done before, and rush for another one and do something a quarterback has never done before with 300 plus 5 touchdowns and 50 plus in a touchdown. Like, and you're telling me and us it's not about X's and O's. Oh, by the way, our defenders aren't speaking anybody today. What the hell are you doing?
Real quick.
What is that?
I said aging Kirk Cousins, not Asian Kirk Cousins. I'm seeing in the chat. Thought I said I meant to say aging, like he's old. Frankie, this is a head coach that forgot or didn't know how long the game-winning kick in London was. It's just, there's a lot of red flags here, man. He promised that the coaching would elevate players. Instead, nearly everyone's regressed, right? He brought up Will McDonald specifically. He had 10.5 sacks a year ago. This year, Will has 7. Over half of them came in one game. 2 came in week 1. 4 came against the Browns. And he has 1 other sack outside of that. They never put pressure on the quarterback, ever. They never come up with a turnover, ever. And again, we know he doesn't call plays on defense. We know he doesn't call plays on offense. You can't tell me the team plays hard for him. So other than hiring Chris Banjo, there's really not much I could point to that I feel great about Aaron Glenn right now. But I'm a Jet fan who has no choice but to believe and hope he gets better, because I don't think he's going to get fired after these 3 games.
No, man. He's just not. I mean, listen, and the game that Quincy Williams and Jermaine Johnson both had yesterday, I mean, inexcusable. And I'm telling you, they didn't speak to the media because they think the media, what they did to Justin Fields was wrong, and Aaron Glenn hates the media, and they probably thought Steve Wilks was the reason why they're not playing well. Again, they might be right. You might be right in life. The media does suck in New York. It is too much. They are looking for stories. Steve Wilks probably wasn't putting you in a position to succeed. They're right there. But as a man, you got to look yourself, or a woman, you got to look yourself in the freaking mirror and say, I am not good enough. I'm not doing enough, because there's no reason Jermaine Johnson doesn't have a pressure against Trevor Lawrence, who loves to play hero ball back there and hold on to the ball forever. There's no reason. Yeah, you're probably right for the most part. Look in the mirror, blame yourself, and get better. This coach is allowing these players to feel bad for themselves and play like victims out there, like they're victims of Steve Wilks and the media. You're not victims. We're the victims of fans. We haven't been in the playoffs in 15 years. We're paying for crap. So, and you don't love the media? Well, if it wasn't for the media, you wouldn't make as much money as you make. I'm sorry to bring that point up, but it's true. All the TV deals and the entertainment value that sports provides you comes from the media. Blame them all you want. They're part of why sports are entertaining at the end of the day. But again, man, this victim mentality or feeling bad for yourself or blaming people, you might be right. It never works in life. And this team, these players have had that impression since they've gotten here. I'm telling you, and I hope Muji realizes this. I do, because I think he shipped out a few guys that had that mentality, and I hope he ships out a few more. If Jermaine Johnson thinks that Steve Wilks is why he's having a bad year, I asked Jermaine Johnson, I would love to ask him one thing. When is the last time I have seen you beat a tackle in a one-on-one cleanly and get to the quarterback in 2 seconds? When? Does anyone have film on that? The Josh Allen sack happened years ago, and again, wasn't a clean thing. He just went sideline to sideline. When's the last time? Does anyone have a clip of Jermaine Johnson? He's an edge player. How many rushes does he get a game? And we gave you a 5th-year option too. You're making $14.5 million next year. Can you answer that? Seriously, like, it's ridiculous. Don't blame. Yeah, the DC stinks. Absolutely, you stink too, though, because you can't beat a tackle.
Everyone stinks. We all stink. We have to.
Sorry,
put
I
up
came
with
in
this
hot
team
today. I can't. This thing just never ends, dude. It's like it's.
Oh, I
ridiculous.
know. Oh, I know. You don't have to talk about it for 4 hours a day like I do, though. You get somewhat of an escape. This is my life. This is it. It's what we do. Frankie, good stuff, man. I appreciate you hopping on.
Appreciate you guys. Shout out to the Asmaniacs. Thanks, man.
Tank EV in the house. It's almost his time, folks. 3 games to go. Can the Jets get to number 1? Probably not, but we need either the Giants or the Titans to be there and not the Raiders or the Browns so we can wheel and deal. Wrong button. I meant to hit this. Slider wants to know, why do I think splitting the Rodgers cap was a bad move? Because if the Jets were going to suck this year, like Will was trying to articulate how this is year 0, and maybe they kind of knew that it could go this way, which no, they just misevaluated their team. And Aaron Glenn, as a first-year coach, had a lot more growing in that role to do than I think anyone could have imagined. A lot of reasons, right? Fields sucked. They thought he'd be better, etc. To me, it was a bad move because just take the cap hit all this year, knowing you're not going to be good. And that was your plan, which it wasn't. That's why they split it. So you have even more cap space going into this offseason in 2026. But how they handled their business told you they were going to try and win. Glenn said it wasn't a rebuild. He was asked directly when Quinn and Williams said, I guess it's another rebuild, thumbs down. Remember, he was asked at the Combine. He said, we're here to win now. Glenn said his goal this year is to have a team that Jet fans are proud of. And then when he was asked about it, when they were 0-7, he said, I never said when. Like, he just backtracked on that. His hamstrings probably still are sore from that one. It's been bad, man. We could be honest. We could root for the Jets and be honest that this has been a failure of a season. And now we just need 3 more losses and give us the best opportunity to get one of these quarterbacks. I prefer Mendoza, but I'm all about Dante Moore as well. That's the alternative. All right, we'll get to your calls shortly here. Load them up on the Gusbuster Umbrella Hotline. Reminder that if you ever miss a live show, we podcast it in its entirety wherever you get your podcast. Apple or Spotify, just search Jake Asman Show. Appreciate everyone who listens on the audio side. Shout out to all the podcast listeners. And, of course, everyone who watches daily on YouTube. Before we get to your calls, interesting comments I want to play from Connor Hughes. So some people are saying that the Wilks firing was Woody Johnson directed. So this was Connor Hughes talking about whether or not that is true.
You and I were talking a little bit about this, and it's been a conversation on social media, and I don't have this reported. This is just my opinion. We've seen coordinator changes made by the Jets over the last couple of years. Mike LaFleur was fired after 2022. Nathaniel Hackett was essentially fired last year, although they let him keep his job because he was buddies with Aaron Rodgers, and ultimately Todd Downing was named the pseudo offensive coordinator, though. Both of those moves by the coordinating ranks were made because the higher ups in the ownership level wanted to change. Woody was not happy with how Mike LaFleur was performing and wanted a new offensive coordinator. Ownership was not happy with the way the offense looked with Nathaniel Hackett over 2 years. They wanted a change, so they did. I don't believe genuinely, I genuinely do not believe that Steve Wilks was fired here because Woody Johnson stepped in Monday morning and called Aaron Glenn and said, I want a new defensive coordinator, get rid of this guy. I don't. For everything that we've seen from Woody since he hired Aaron Glenn, everything that Aaron Glenn has said since he was named this team's head coach, it's been clear to me that this truly is his show. And he has the full autonomy to do whatever and do whatever he wants whenever he wants. With that staff changes, that's player acquisitions. This isn't a general manager-led team. Woody himself called Darren Muji Aaron Glenn's sidekick. So Aaron Glenn truly has complete and total control of everything that happens within the organization and his hands everywhere. I don't believe that this was Woody meddling. I don't believe this was Woody putting his fingers in. I genuinely believe that this was Aaron Glenn looking at the totality, realizing that Steve Wilks probably wasn't his guy from the jump, and that this was just a situation where he brought somebody on because he had experience as a head coach, and he was somebody to help a first-time head coach. It was like an arranged marriage. It just wasn't working, so he made the divorce now and just get somebody else in there. Like Glenn said himself, he wants to see progress. He wants to see the culture and the character that he's been trying to instill carried out through the defenders. Wasn't happening with Wilks on the sidelines, and now Chris Harris is going to be.
I think ultimately Aaron Glenn made the decision because he was worried about losing the locker room, right? Jermaine Johnson and Quincy Williams, I don't think they spoke yesterday because they didn't want to say something bad about Wilks because the players don't believe they're being coached properly. They don't believe they're being put in the best position to succeed. New Q says, does he let the other guy talk? Yes. Zach does talk on that show. But that clip was obviously Connor Hughes talking. Zach covers the team for The Athletic. Connor with SNY. Jets Hub. This is Craig's Airlines fault. So I do this in my head a lot. If we could swap this year's Nick Folk and put him on last year's team, who knows how different the Jets season is? Seriously. The season went up in flames. And Zerline had so much to do with it, but people just wanted to blame Rodgers because they have Rodgers derangement syndrome. By the way, I love the Steelers tonight for what it's worth. I'll get you a line on FanDuel right now. Miami's lost 13 straight games when the temperature is below 40 degrees. Now, with the Jets, we used the stat for 45 degrees because it still applied, but that really wasn't that cold, right? Like, that wasn't brutal. And the Jets are the Jets. So if any team could break that streak, it would be them. I once again am fading Tua in the cold weather later. Line's down to 3 over at FanDuel. So I'll take Steelers -3. I know they don't have TJ Watt, who obviously is going to be okay, but is not going to play tonight after that medical situation that emerged last week. But I like this. I like the Steelers tonight. I'll lay the 3 over at FanDuel. Again, Tua, cold weather. I'll take my chances. I will take my chances. Let's see. Trying to see if I got any good betting stats on this that are worth noting. Steelers 0-3 in primetime, so that's actually not a good stat there. They lost 5 straight primetime games dating back to last season. But they're dominant at home on Monday Night Football, so something's got to give. They've won 22 consecutive home games on Monday Night Football, longest such streak since Monday Night Football began in 1970. Steelers have not lost a home game on Monday night since October 14th, 1991 against the Giants at Three Rivers Stadium. So I like that stat for my bet. Tua, 0-5 in his NFL career in sub-40-degree temperatures at kickoff. Dolphins have lost 13 straight games in sub-40-degree temperatures, with their last such win coming in 2016, Week 16 in Buffalo. That's the longest streak in such temperatures since 2000. And it's supposed to be cold tonight. Tua has the lowest total QBR in sub-40 temperatures since the metric was introduced in 2006. Here's the graphic. This is all from ESPN research here. So I'm giving you guys some stats here. All right, I'm giving you guys some exclusive betting analysis here. I like Pittsburgh. Here's the Tua stat. He's bad in the cold. So we will see. Because it's supposed to be cold in Pittsburgh later. All right. 18 degrees specifically. There you go. Thank you, Oregon. So let's go with the Steelers. Go, Pittsburgh, go. All right. To your calls we go. Gusbuster Umbrella Hotline's the place to be. We're standing by. And first today is a man who has done copious amounts of cocaine.
If Mad Max ain't yapping about jets, that boy, he's jamming. He's slamming, freaking dancing, wall smashing. I'm Jake Asman. If Mad Max ain't ever stopped yapping, that boy, he still be dancing. Then call Jake Asman. He got an orange wall.
Can you guys hear me?
Nope.
Let's talk about the two topics today. So, first of all, the Steve Wilks firing. Very good firing, you know. The reason why Steve Wilks was fired because he's absolutely inept defensive coordinator. And whoever the defensive backs coach is, Chris Harris, hopefully does better. But he also needs to be fired. How do you have a defense that has 0 interceptions the entire season? That's total levels of ineptitude from this defense. Jake, hopefully all the players this week will be catching balls from the jugs we've seen all week, all day, until one defensive player finally catches the ball so we can get our first interception of the season on Sunday. And then my second point is the Saints game. I think we're going to lose this game very badly. What's your thoughts on that, Jake?
I think they're going to lose.
I think it'll be another Jets debacle. Maybe probably blowout.
Let's hope. We need as many losses as possible.
I hope so too, because if we try to get Fernando Mendoza in the draft, hopefully the Jets draft him. We draft the quarterback because our quarterback play is horrible.
Do you think you could do a better job?
I could probably do a better job than Steve Wilks as a defensive coordinator. That's for sure, Jake.
I'd recommend you to be the DC. Why not?
Why not? I mean, at least I'm not going to run a 4-3, 2 linebacker arcade scheme. If I was a defensive coordinator, I'd put so much pressure. I would pressure the quarterback on a lot of plays. Sack him. If I was a defensive coordinator, I'd have every practice. I'd have players catching balls in the jugs machine. That's what I would have done.
How come you're calling us from home today? You're not. Is the semester done?
Semester's done. I got home very early from final shake, so I didn't have a lot of in-person final shake. So
how did finals go, Mad Max?
It's going good, Jake. I have a couple essays. I'm already done my essays. I'm almost done, Jake. I just have to read over this essay and then I'm submitting it.
When do they do?
I already finished my essay. The essay's due tomorrow. I'm already finished with that. I just have to read it over. I'm just going to edit it, and then I'm going to submit it tonight.
And you're done. Your semester's done when you submit it.
Semester's done, Jake.
All right.
Hopefully we have the holidays. We have the holidays soon.
All right, the holidays. Oh, yeah. Let's recap the semester, Mad Max.
Very fun semester, Jake.
How many bitches?
Got so many lovely ladies, Jake. I was in the Navigator, so just a Christian-based Bible study club. Very good. And then it's a very good semester. Then my classes, I did good in my classes, Jake. I was in a class with Chase Donovan, and the two Jets games I went to are very fun, Jake.
How much ChatGPT did you use to get your schoolwork done this year?
0. I would never use ChatGPT, especially for essays. It's like people are why do you use ChatGPT for essays? Honestly, it's stupid. It's just write it yourself and then just edit it yourself.
Hey, Oscar says that you're doing a lot more than studying the Bible in that Bible study class of yours.
Yeah, a lot of my boys are from that club, Jake.
A lot of boys. I heard there's some lovely ladies in there.
There's more lovely ladies at the frat, Jake, honestly. At the frat parties, there's more lovely ladies. If I try to talk to all the girls, Jake, I'll just talk to all the girls at the frats, honestly.
What was your go-to pickup line this semester, Mad Max?
Oh, man, I don't use pickup lines. I used to use pickup lines. I'll be like, are you from Tennessee? Because you're only 10 IC. But I'll be like, hi, I'm Max. Nice to meet you.
That was your go-to
line? Remember that Gorman one? Gorman had the worst pickup line of all time. He was like, oh, show me your butthole. That was Charles Gorman, actually. Is Charles Gorman on the line?
He is not. Shut up. He is not, but I don't recall him saying that.
That's on the Nick Shine show. Gorman was like, oh, show me your butthole. It's the worst pickup line. You don't use that on girls. Come on.
Any truth to the rumor you said to a woman recently, are you a parking ticket because you got a fine written all over you?
No, I've never said that, Jake.
I heard you did. That's why I bring it up.
No, I never said it.
All right, what about this one? Are you a magician? Every time I look at you, everyone else disappears.
That's actually the best pickup line. I gotta use that a girl. It's like that's the best pickup line, Jake, honestly. Before I leave, but let's do this Jets chant. J-E-T.
I don't want a Jet chant. The Jets suck right now.
I know we suck like we suck like dog shit, honestly,
Give
Jake.
me a T-A-N-K.
T-A-N-K. Tank for Fernando Mendoza.
Ladies and gentlemen, a coked up Mad Max.
Time to lose some games, bitches. You guys should be pros at this. They don't give out trophies for 4 or 5 wins.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Mad Max to Mad Max's brother.
James B's related to Mad Max. He's in his 30s and mellow, drinking decaf, likes bagels. I'm Jake Asman. If James B looks oddly familiar, he might be starring on Netflix as a serial killer. He hasn't been seen using Adderall.
Hey, can you hear me, Jake?
Hey, James. No, I
can't. I don't know what to feel about that intro still, but I'm mostly proud. But yeah, hey, how about this for you? By the way, I'm picking up a rental car, so let's hope I get like a Ferrari or a Lamborghini this time around. But Alex Smith, he's only 41, Jake. I think we go with Alex Smith. He's my guy. I think that's who the Jets need.
I don't think he can walk anymore.
Oh, what happened?
I mean, he had a devastating leg injury. Like he had to retire because of it. Like he's.
Oh, is that why he retired? Oh my gosh, what a hero comeback story we're about to have next season. He'll come in as our bridge quarterback. Will surprisingly make the playoffs. We'll be blown away, and then there'll be some promise for the following year.
I hope they give you a tricycle for your rental car if you're suggesting Alex Smith as our quarterback next year.
You know, they gave me a Trailblazer, so I won't be riding in style. Whatever.
Nice American vehicle there. Yeah.
It is. Well, it's not a Ford, but that's going to cause some debate in the chat, so I take that back. Anyway, yeah. Good call, brother. If you're still listening, that was a good call, Max. And yeah, I'll see you tonight for dinner. And Jake, you be well. Be well.
Ladies and
Check
gentlemen,
in on Alex
James
Smith
B.
for me.
I will not.
Jets, Jets.
Thank you very much, though. Great call. More of your calls right now, ladies and gentlemen. Let's say hello to this man.
Gas station pizza is better than a Big Mac.
What's up, Jake?
Hello, Gary.
I've always heard the line is, "Are you a parking meter because I'm going to violate you?" I've never heard that because you have fine written all over. I've heard that line differently.
I PG-ified the line.
Okay. All right. I want to work with Mad Max because he'll get no approach anxiety. He will have no anxiety.
Oh, he's Al Harrington on the 2008 Knicks. He's getting up every shot imaginable.
Yeah. I agree. That's why I want to work with him because he's not going to get deterred. If one doesn't work, he'll go up to the next one and the next one and the next one, and it's all a numbers game. Eventually, you'll see. But Steve Wilks, I wasn't expecting that this morning. But can you really be surprised when a season goes this awry? When a season is this bad? When you're supposed to have a good defense and your defense is this bad? Why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't you fire him? And the defense clearly quit yesterday. Glenn's not going to fire himself, right? So I mean, this is actually the logical thing. It wouldn't make sense to not fire him. I'm not really for firing people. I'm not trying to call for anyone's job. I'm saying when you're this bad at your job for this long, can you really be surprised?
I don't think I'm surprised necessarily that they fired him because I thought he was going to be fired. You could say it's a little surprising with the timing now. Like, why not just wait till the end of the year? But again, I think there's a lot behind the scenes with that locker room where if they didn't fire him, there could have been a revolt. I think that's where this was headed.
the players quit. I mean,
Correct.
I'm not a yeah. So he has to go. Once the players quit, you
That's it.
can't fire all the players. So the coach has to go, and that's what they did. Did they announce who's going to be filling in?
Yeah, Chris Harris, who's the DB coach and pass game coordinator.
Okay, I mean they had to do something. But this doesn't change anything. Like, you still fully expect Glenn to be back next year, right?
I do. Yeah. I mean, look, I don't see any reason to think he wouldn't be. Again, I think when they made the trades at the deadline, that guaranteed him his second year. I think they sold Woody on a plan to get the quarterback and rebuild the team with these picks and all the cap space they're now going to have to put towards the team. And they're going to overhaul everything and be a playoff team in 2026 at the earliest, 2027 the latest. I think that was the new plan. They spun to the owner, who's a bad owner who gets conned very easily, as we all know, and he's trusting the guy he just hired. I don't think he's out on Glenn yet.
You were talking about if we had Zerline last year, like
So we had Falk last year.
If we had Falk last year, like what would have been? It would have all been different. Salah would still be here most likely, and like if you had to do it again, this is not me advocating for Salah. I'm saying if my two choices were Salah or Aaron Glenn, who are you taking 9 out of 9 times? Taking Salah, right?
Right now, you're saying like who's a better coach?
Salah or Glenn? Those are your two choices.
Oh yeah, and again, this is not to say Robert Salah was a good head coach. I think he did some things well, and ultimately did other things poorly. He is to this point a way better head coach than Aaron Glenn.
Yeah, that's not a ringing endorsement. I'm just saying he's better than Glenn.
Yeah, no, 100%. Honestly, the first 7 weeks, Glenn was the worst coach I've ever watched. He was on the Gase and Ulbrich level. That's how bad it was. I wasn't old enough, thank God, to watch Kotite, but the people who did were comparing it to the Kotite years. So I don't think he's been that bad of late. Like, I do think there's been some improvement from that level, but yeah, I mean, look, I think he's done a bad job this year. And I don't care if he played for the Jets 30 years ago and was an outstanding player. I got to call it how I see it. I don't think he's done a good job this year. I think he's been incredibly disappointing.
Not everyone can do what Speedy Claxton's doing at Hofstra. Not everyone goes from a great player.
Go Pride. Go Pride.
They beat Syracuse this week and they beat Pitt last week, which is weird.
Hofstra beat Syracuse. That says more about the state of Syracuse basketball than anything else.
Are they not good? Their record wasn't great, but they got.
They haven't been good in years. They ended Boeheim. They weren't good, and since then it's been all downhill.
They lost to Iona and Columbia, and they beat Pitt and Syracuse. You can make of that as you wish. I don't know what to make of that, but yeah, they beat Syracuse 70-69 in the Carrier Dome.
Hey, Dom wants to know what your fighting record was.
16-6 with one as a professional, 16-6 with one no contest. In the amateurs, I had like 80 fights. It was 50 something and 20 something. I don't remember the exact amateur record.
How often do they let you fight as an amateur? Just no rules. You can fight whenever.
Well, like in the amateurs, there's tournaments, so you might fight like Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday until you lose, right? Like nationals, there's rounds to it, right? So like you might fight 4 times in a week if you go to the finals. You can fight as much as you want now. Like in certain parts of the country, and like in Texas, there's an amateur show somewhere. So if you want to drive all around, like if you want to be in the Valley one week and Houston next week, you can fight almost every week. There's a lot of shows, and then like other states will, like Vegas, Nevada will let you fight in their shows if you're licensed as an amateur in your state.
Beast wrote in, I'm the sexiest man alive, and Gary is the glob G-L-O-B of the year.
I think he's saying glob, like a glob, like a glob of like paint. Like I don't think it's complimentary. I don't think that's complimentary.
Let me bring on the man himself.
Right now, we're getting some gabagool. If you really want some gabagool, you got to come get the gabagool. Catch you later. Catch you later.
Oh, I thought that was a Mets shirt. It's a Knicks shirt. Oh, I thought it was Mets gear. Oh, I thought that was a Mets shirt. It's a Knicks shirt.
Hey, Beast, you mind turning the show down?
Hey, Beast, you mind turning the show down?
Now, please.
What? Now, please.
Oh, God.
It's
the
good.
Echo. Hey, Beast, when you hear this in 10 seconds, recognize why we took you off the air.
He's wearing a Porzingis shirt. Porzingis has seen better days.
Yeah, he thinks Knicks fans like Porzingis. We don't. I don't like Kristaps Porzingis.
Porzingis, he got injured a lot, but he was an all-star for you guys.
It was not his production on the court. He asked out and wanted to be traded and allowed his brother, who didn't know shit about basketball, to be his agent and force the trade. It was a mess.
And the trade was a mess. What did you get? You got Dennis Smith Jr. and DeAndre Jordan in the trade. That's what
it was to clear space to then try and sign Kyrie and KD. That was the point.
You got Randall out of that. Yeah. It all worked. I mean, Porzingis has AIDS now, if that makes you feel any better. If that's
his AIDS?
You got something. You haven't heard this before?
I did not hear
a
that
virus.
He has
What virus does he have? He's getting better. Don't worry about it. He can't play. Why can't he play? He has a virus. What virus does he have?
Has he not played this year yet?
He's played a little bit, but the same as last year. He plays for a stretch and then he can't play. He's got. I'm not saying he's got AIDS.
There's a big difference between he's got a virus and he has AIDS.
What virus does he have? Don't worry about it. Right.
Also, wouldn't he have HIV? He wouldn't have full blown AIDS.
Well, he has. Okay, he's HIV. HIV is. Okay.
There's a big difference. That's Magic. There's a big difference.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. It was the same thing. Remember Robbie Alomar? Alomar was the same thing. All of a sudden, he just couldn't play anymore. I don't know. Right? Like, I'm not saying Porzingis has AIDS. What I'm saying is, if I was his doctor, the first thing I would do is give him an HIV test. Just saying. That's the first.
Stop with the echo, Beast. Turn the show
How
off
much
your
does
computer.
that turn me?
Stop with the echo, Beast. Turn the show off your computer. Watch the show through StreamYard.
I don't have it on. I don't have it on. I don't have it on like that.
Watch the show through StreamYard. Well, you get with Gator because there's something wrong with this audio there.
He's not. That could have been entertaining. That could have been an entertaining segment.
Yeah,
but now you should get him on with Max. I think that would be.
We've done that before. Mad Max can overpower anyone. It doesn't matter.
He can overpower. Yeah, he really can. That's why I wanted to work with him. I wanted to talk to him about his approaches.
You won't get a word in.
That's why I need you to translate. You to be the middleman. I know I can't get a word in. Is he on something, or is that just the way God made him? Like, is he on something?
Oh, he's on something.
He's on cocaine, according to Jake Asman.
That's what she say. Also, Papa Jet would like everyone to know that he had a virus that lasted 2 months and messed him up big time, but it wasn't AIDS.
Good. That's good. It's good to hear you do. You're doing better now, Papa Jet, I imagine. Hope all is well.
Well, anything else on your mind, Gary?
No, I think that's it, Jake. I think that's it.
Also, in a stunning turn of events, I don't think I've ever seen a guy get as hated on as you were on Friday's show, only to then rally from the hate and get the chat back on your side after you rumbled with Allen defending Chuckwagon. So that was a wild turn of events. You went from hated to beloved in the same show.
Only I can do that, because but I speak the truth. And when you speak the truth, sometimes people love it and sometimes people hate it. But I'm just going to keep speaking the truth.
Well, speaking of guys that people sometimes hate,
here comes JJ. He's here to talk about the Jets. He's putting Justin Fields in the Football Hall of Fame. Here comes JJ. You know he's Gary's biggest fan. He loves cornrows and the crappy Wi-Fi. Here comes JJ. He loves the sound of his voice. Here comes JJ. Most of these calls end bad, so let's get it over with.
I don't think that's true. I don't think people hate me. I mean, and if you hate me in this chat, then you're weird. Because, you don't know me. So how can you? Huh?
I love you, JJ. I want you to know that.
No, I'm just saying, if somebody hates me and they never met me in person, how could you hate me? You're a weirdo if you hate people that you disagree with online on a call-in show. Yo, speaking of disagreeing with people, what's funny? I actually disagree with Steve Wilks getting fired at this point. I think they should have just let him finish out the year, because it's not like we are on the verge of the playoffs and this game just cost us big or anything like that. It was a meaningless game against a good football team, and the defense did exactly what it's been doing all year. So if this is the case, you should have fired him weeks ago. So, why now? I think they should have just let him finish out the season. I hate to see people get fired and lose their job, especially during the middle of a season. Let the guy finish the season. Yeah, because you just have his back the whole way through at that point. However, with that being said, I'm actually shocked because I thought that he was going to be back next year. I thought Aaron Glenn was going to, be like a loyalist, just like we saw with Robert Saleh. You remember when Robert Saleh would refuse to fire any bad coach, like the lineman coach.
Yeah, he didn't fire Keith Carter. He didn't fire Obrick after the first year. But I think that to me made more sense because that was year one, and they took over a 2-win team. The expectations for the Jet defense this year was that they were going to be a good unit. They had 8 of their 11 starters back, defensive coach, proven or not proven, but veteran DC. I think they fired Wilks today, JJ, because the locker room might have went up in flames if they didn't. I don't think London wanted to do this. I think he was left with no choice.
Yeah, well, I was shocked. I thought that he was going to end up coming back next year. So I'm glad that he's showing. I'm glad he's showing that like he's
JJ.
What'd you say?
We lost.
What'd you say?
I can't believe you actually thought there was a chance Wilks would be back next year.
Well, I mean, I'm scarred from Robert Saleh. I saw Robert Saleh want to stick with LaFleur after a couple of years, and albeit maybe LaFleur, wasn't as bad as we thought he was, but he was still pretty bad. And you guys can say, "Oh, yeah, well, with other quarterbacks, the offense looked much better." You guys say that every year with everyone. You guys say that all the time. Like even this year, we're saying, "Oh, with other quarterbacks, the offense looks better." At the end of the day, LaFleur deserved to be fired, and for what it's worth, I mean, if they never fired LaFleur, who knows if you guys would have got Aaron Rodgers, and you guys were pretty happy about that. I was kind of happy about it too. I'm not going to lie. So it is what it is. But I come to the realization that this team is always going to be crap. We're never going to be a successful organization. Like I give up. I really want you guys to get Mendoza because I know a lot of people believe he's going to be the savior. And I just want no more excuses anymore. I don't want any more excuses. Like I want us to have the quarterback in place. And if we suck next year, I want to be able to look, myself in the mirror as a Jets fan and say, you know what, this organization just sucks. Like we're not a quarterback away. We're not waiting for our savior. Like we just suck and we're always going to suck.
Quarterback away, even if they get Mendoza, it's going to take Mendoza and improvements all around the roster and improvement.
Yeah, but right now, what do you want the most for next year? Like what is your main wish for next year? Okay, exactly. And I think everyone is in line with you and in lockstep with you. But what I'm saying is if we get the quarterback Mendoza, right, and we end up only winning 3 games next year, well, at least we're not going to be saying the same shit that excuse my language, the same thing we've been saying for years. Oh, we just need a quarterback. We just need a quarterback. At least we'll be able to be like, yeah, we just suck as an organization. We're a bunch of crazy lunatic fans who support a sucky team.
Quarterback, JJ. Any Jet fan telling you they just need to put Fernando Mendoza into the lineup and they're set is not watching the team this year.
But I think where I disagree with most people is I feel like Mendoza won't make as much of an impact as if we used our picks to get a bunch of players. Like if we just used all our picks to get a bunch of players, that would make more of an impact for the team than getting Mendoza. Because we can easily just, instead of getting Mendoza, we can easily just go get Gardner Minshew and surround him with a bunch of talented players and then ride out. I'm just saying, what makes more sense, right? Like getting Mendoza and trading away assets to get him and not, putting a great team around him or putting a great team around like a proven, NFL veteran. But obviously there's a ceiling with Minshew. We don't know what the ceiling would be with Mendoza.
Fields. You just watched this with Fields. Now you want to try this with Gardner Minshew?
Yeah, but the difference with watching it with Fields is we can honestly look at the roster, right? Fields sucked. Let me say this before you guys start calling me a Fields truther. Fields sucked. We all know that Fields sucked. At the same time, he had no one to throw to besides Garrett Wilson. At the same time, the defense was atrocious all year. At the same time, we have a whole bunch of overrated players on this team. And if we can go back in time, we wouldn't even have had all the expectations that we did this year. I mean, you didn't even think we would win more than 4 wins. You said you could smell the 4 wins from, your seat. So now we're probably going to only win 3 to 4 wins and everyone is like up in arms about it. But at the same time, we knew that, we had a bad team coming into this year.
We didn't think the coaching would be this bad. That's a major concern. And again, JJ, they're not better with Gardner Minshew and spreading out the picks. They have $100 million in cap space. They have a lot of picks over the next 2 years. They can afford to trade the Colts pick and one of their twos if they love one of these quarterbacks, if it is Mendoza or it's Dante Moore.
Yeah,
You're
but
nothing
and
in this league without a quarterback. And if Mendoza's
I'm
really
in
good,
agreement with you. That's why I called in a couple of weeks ago and I said I agree with you. You guys changed my mind. Trade whatever the hell you got to trade to get Mendoza, because at the very least next year I don't want to have the same what ifs. I don't want to be talking about, oh, what if Tyrod Taylor would have started? How many more wins would we have had? Or what if Justin Fields wasn't the worst quarterback we've seen ever? But how many more wins would we have had? Like, I want to go into next year and have some sense of, all right, at least we figured out quarterback situation and go from there. Now, if I'm just a betting man, and I'm not, but if I was, I would say the odds are not in our favor to get Mendoza, because it looks like the Raiders are probably going to lose out for the rest of the way. They do play, I think do they play the Giants or they play somebody?
The Giants, and they play
the Giants. If the Raiders are finish out, they're drafting a quarterback and they're drafting Mendoza and they're pairing him with Genty and Brock Bowers and all those guys. So
we don't know if they're taking Fernando Mendoza. What do they like Dante Moore better? Still very early in the process.
Yeah, but Mendoza just won the Heisman, so he has that what
does that mean?
You guys love Heisman winning quarterbacks. Usually
we like the best quarterback in the respective class. Like, that has nothing to do with him winning the Heisman or not. If teams think Dante Moore is the better quarterback, they'll take Dante Moore.
Okay, but
Lamar Jackson won the Heisman. He was the 5th quarterback taken in his own draft class.
Yeah, because the people are idiots and wanted him to play wide receiver. But
how do we know that the Raiders
when
aren't idiots too? We don't know who's making the pick for them. Is Pete Carroll their head coach? Who's their coach? Who's their offensive coordinator? Who does Tom
true.
Brady
But all
like?
I'm saying is that the consensus right now is that
you're the one who said Heisman winners are bust. We were just simply defending that there's no equivalency you can make to a Heisman winner and NFL success. Like, there's no data point you could draw that one has anything to do with the other. You just threw in you guys love Heisman winners. No, we simply said that if Mendoza wins the Heisman, which he now officially has, if he wins it, great. If he doesn't win it, awesome. It doesn't matter. If I believe he's the better prospect than Dante Moore.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to get to is the consensus is that Mendoza is the best quarterback available. Is that not true?
Right now it is.
Okay, so now with that being said,
a year ago at this time, who was the top quarterback?
Yeah, but we just watched them play, so that makes no difference at this point. All I'm saying is now the consensus
in late April, the consensus right now might be different. That's what I'm saying to you.
Yes, but right now the consensus is that Mendoza is the best quarterback that's coming out, and he just won a Heisman, so that's gonna make people want him even more. Like, for example, look at Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud, right? Like, who had the better college resume, in your opinion, between Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud?
I mean, probably Bryce Young. I'd have to look at their exact stats, but I mean, C.J. Stroud was amazing at Ohio State.
That's what I'm saying. But the consensus was that Bryce Young was going to be the better prospect. He won the Heisman. I think. How far did they get that year? I don't even remember.
Not everyone felt that way. There were plenty of people who thought Stroud was the better prospect.
Yeah, well, now it looks kind of like Bryce Young will. Up until this year, he looked like he was going to be a bust, right?
So again, you love to argue nonsense. I don't even know what you're arguing right now.
I'm not arguing you with anything. You started arguing with me. I said that
because you made a bad take, tried to spin your bad bullshit Heisman take nonsense on us, and I checked you on it because what you're saying is not true. And Dylan noticed it. He goes, JJ took his anti-Heisman narrative and tried to flip it like we're pro-Heisman. This is what you did. We didn't do it. You did this, and I responded accordingly.
No, what I said was that Mendoza is probably going to get drafted by the Raiders. And I said, you said, well, how do you know, blah, 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 blah. And I said, well, he just won the Heisman. So
which has nothing to do with if he's going to be drafted first overall or not. When we don't even know if the Raiders have the first overall pick. Right now, they don't.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Let me just ask you this, right? Do you think that the Raiders would draft Mendoza if he's available?
Right now, I would say I suppose they would. But what I'm telling you
that's all I'm saying. So if the Raiders draft Mendoza, which is all I've been trying to say,
the Jets should get Dante Moore.
Okay, whether I brought up the Heisman or not, it doesn't matter. The only point that I was trying to make was the Raiders are most likely going to draft Mendoza if he's available to them and if they are able to do it. And if they do that, then that means the Jets will not be able to do it. I'm not trying to debate you guys. I think you guys have this perception of me that I always want to debate and argue. I don't. I'm just saying that the Raiders.
Then the Jets will pivot to the second best quarterback, or who knows?
And
maybe
then
the Jets like
if
someone more
Dante
than him.
Moore doesn't have success, then everybody is going to say, oh, yeah, we should have got Mendoza. We knew Mendoza was going to be the better prospect. Oh, we should have never beat Cleveland. We would have been able to get Mendoza if we didn't beat Cleveland or beat Atlanta. It's the same thing like with Trevor Lawrence and all that crap. Like, we should have never, who did we beat? Was it the Rams or something like that? And everyone's like, oh, if we did.
You know what you do that is just like so silly? You say everyone as if you have like the consensus of everyone's opinion, and it's all
It's just a figure. It's just a figure of speech.
Yeah, but you do this all the time as if like
okay.
that's
A lot
how
of
all
people
Jet fans
said
feel.
that
No,
we should have never beat
a lot
the
of Jet
Rams.
fans will feel that if they can't get Mendoza, they will get more. There's also a lot of Jet fans who don't like any of these quarterbacks who want to wait till 2027. All you do is move the goalpost. Thank you, Boomtown, because you're 1,000%.
How am
right.
I'm so confused. What am I moving the goalposts on? Please explain to me, because I want to learn now. Now I want to learn. Like, what am I moving the goalposts from?
I mean, you literally just did it with the Heisman Trophy stuff. Your whole take last week was you can't draft the Heisman winner, and then you tried to flip it on us in this call here.
I still feel like that most of the Heisman Trophy quarterbacks sucked. You can look down the list. There's been 19 of them since 2000, and out of the 19, only 6 of them are actually good. But everyone's going to act like, oh, yeah, well, that was a different era. Oh, who cares? Who cares?
M123 says he doesn't even argue with his girlfriend this much.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not arguing with anybody. At the end of the day, I said the Raiders will probably pick Mendoza. I don't understand how that's a illogical take.
And then pivot to more. I think any rational fan understands the Jets need to
Now,
get
this is not moving the goalposts. This is another thought. This is not moving the goalposts. If the Jets draft Dante Moore and Dante Moore doesn't have success, then all we're going to hear as a franchise from a lot of people, not everyone.
And then let those people say what they say. How about if they take Dante Moore and he's awesome? The Texans got shitted on for winning the last game of the regular season the year Bryce Young and Stroud were coming out, because that win against the Colts, Lovie Smith, who was going to get fired, winning his last game, giving the Bears the #1 pick, which Carolina traded up for. That was going to cost them Bryce Young. And guess what? It's the best thing to happen to them because they got CJ Stroud. So why don't we let it breathe and play out and not worry what people might say if a certain scenario happens months from now, because some of these things are going to take years to figure out, just like it took a while for us to figure out, hey, all the quarterbacks on the 21 draft class stink. Lawrence is okay. Like, what are we doing, man?
Respectfully, Jake, I say this to you respectfully.
How about the Jets get it right? If they pick a quarterback, they get it right, and we can actually be excited about who they picked, and we don't have to worry about what the alternatives would be because they got it wrong again.
I say this to you respectfully, Jake. For you to say, who cares what people are going to say and think and whatever, is very absurd to me, because you literally have a show where people, like, you have 40,000 people who subscribe to you because they want to hear what you think about the Jets, and they call in and they watch the show just to hear what you think about the Jets. We care. That's what we do.
But you're saying everyone, right? Like, who cares about a scenario down the line if Mendoza's great and they take more and he's not? Like, we'll worry about that then. Like, the Jets process needs to be, they need a quarterback. And if they believe that,
I personally, if you read my sub headliner, I personally think Moore will be better. I think Moore will be better than the Heisman guy. Let's
be happy about it then. You're painting a bad scenario. Let's be great. Let's hope it plays out the way you want it to. They'll get Dante Moore.
If it plays out the way I want to, we don't trade up for anything. We wait and hold the number 3, maybe 4 pick, and we draft Dante Moore, and then we use the rest of our picks to build a team around him, and that's best case scenario. Now, do I think the Jets are going to do that? No, because they just don't do the best case scenario ever. Like, they don't. And even, a few years back when we got Jermaine Johnson and we got Breece Hall and we got Garrett Wilson, at the end of the day, what did he say?
Boomtown writes, and I am very concerned about what some people might say down the road in a hypothetical situation. It keeps me up at night.
I mean, that's a funny joke. I never said it keeps me up. I just said I don't want to have to hear everyone complain about how they do already about, AJ, we should have got the Rams. We should have never beat the Rams. We should have never beat the Rams. Isn't that the most stupidest thing that you...
Yes, it is.
Okay.
But so people could bring up the Rams game from 5 years ago. I haven't, so who cares? Like, if it bothers you, just tune it out. It doesn't matter. People are going to complain if a team that has not made the playoffs in 15 years and counting continues to suck. We will stop complaining when they start winning games. Like, that's how it works. I don't hear people complaining about how bad of an owner James Dolan is anymore, because the Knicks have been good now for years.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. But at the end of the day, when you look at this team and you look at the things that have been done, we always are woulda, coulda, shoulda. We should have did this. We should have did that. And
That was
I'm
the same
over
with
it.
the
I just
Knicks
want.
until they turned it around. You have to win to change that. That's where it comes down to.
Do you turn it around? Honestly, think this team is going to turn it around, though.
You cut out there. What was your question?
I said, do you honestly think this? Do you honestly think this team is going to turn it around?
Like next year? Like what's the time on?
Just in general, ever.
Ever? I think at some point in our life, the Jets will be good again. Yeah.
Do you think that we'll ever turn it around in the history? Well, you're a better man than me.
I have better Wi-Fi than you too, because the second you went outside, that was the end of the JJ experience there. I mean, what type of question is that? And like he's JJ's bringing up these scenarios, like, oh, I don't want to hear any of the excuses. If we take Dante Moore and he ends up being terrible, oh, everyone's gonna be saying this. Or I don't know. How about they take Dante Moore and he's great? How do we we don't know. We have no idea. Like we have no idea how any of this will go. And he's worried about he's annoyed with people complaining about things. Yeah, the complaining stops when you win. The Jets haven't won anything. So people do bring up different scenarios and things that happened that got us to this point. I still hear people talk about how, the Jet downfall, it all started when they traded JFM. Like, awful move by Joe Douglas. All right, let's not give Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji a pass for the Jets pass rush sucking because they traded away John Franklin Myers 2 years ago. You know what I mean? Like we can't go down. Like, we really want to trace back the Jet history. I'll go all the way back to 2012 when Woody Johnson fired Mike Tannenbaum and retained Rex, which then got us Izek and put us on this long list of ineptitude. Like, again, the Jets have no excuses. They have picks, cap space, figure it out. And if they can't, the people in charge will be held responsible for it. That's how it always goes. More of your calls right now, ladies and gentlemen. I know what we need. We need the Chuck Wagon.
Chuck Wagon's always cooking, which it takes. Chuck Wagon's even cooking at the game. Chuck Wagon hates McDonald's, but he's headed home to cook. It's time once again for Chuck Wagon.
I'm not sure if you saw JJ's take on Jermaine Johnson earlier when you had Frankie V and Will Parkinson on, but JJ was really throwing some shade on Jermaine Johnson too. So it wasn't just, yes, he does need to play better. I would also say, come from a horrific injury like he did and see if you can even walk. But he's just all over the place today. Going into Sunday's game with the Saints, I'm glad that the Saints are actually been playing better recently, and they're the home team. So, yes, the Jets could still win the game, but, I have more confidence that the Saints will win. I'm glad that Wilks is gone, but I would have waited one more week until after the Saints game, so there'd be a better shot of the Jets actually losing that game. Then get rid of them, because it doesn't matter who you have as an interim DC. No one's winning the last two games against those two teams. So just hoping, one more game with him. But I guess, like you were saying, there must have been a big rift with the players on the defensive side, and that's why they had to do what they had to do.
I think it makes sense. I mean, you had Jermaine, you had Quincy not speaking. You've heard rumblings of the players not buying into the scheme all year. Guys are continuously out of position. There's still communication breakdowns, and they look like they quit yesterday. Also, JJ says, Chuck Wagon, you're an idiot. That wasn't me. Wrong, JJ.
Well, when I see JJ on the scene, I don't know who's JJ.
Who's the real JJ?
Yeah, who knows?
Well, Chuck Wagon, we'll get to the bottom of this, all right?
Yeah.
Hang in there. Ladies and gentlemen, more of your calls right now. I can't believe my eyes. I didn't think this man would call in after yesterday's call on the postgame show led to a lot of explosive fireworks.
Hey, Charles! You'll never get my chicken soup recipe. Hey, Charles! I'm not saying that Lowski takes steroids. Please, some of it. Hey, Charles! Who is that lovely lady? Send it this way, Charles!
Hello, Jake. I'm almost at my apartment. How you doing?
Where are you going, Charles?
I'm on my way to my apartment.
Where are you coming from, Charles?
Buffalo Wild Wings. Why?
I'm making conversation with you, Charles.
Yeah, Steve Wilks had to go. I mean,
how was Buffalo Wild Wings?
It was fine.
What'd you get?
A crispy chicken wrap with fries.
Any dessert?
No. What was I trying to say? Oh yeah, Steve Wilks had to go.
Inside that car?
No, he was the biggest disappointment on this coaching staff. I mean, this is the guy on
Who's
the
driving
entire
the car
coaching
right now?
staff. Uber.
Does your Uber driver know he's driving a celebrity?
No. Thank you, my friend.
Make sure you tip him well. 5 stars.
I will.
How is your
He
lover
had to go.
Preston?
He had to go because he had the most experience on this coaching staff, and he stunk up the joint. So, I mean, I wanted him on the coaching staff because of his experience and because how he ran the 49ers defense a couple of years ago, and the team didn't listen to him.
Hey, who'd you
Or
get
he
dinner
did a
with, by the
terrible
way?
job coaching them. So there's that.
Who'd you get B-dubs with?
What, Jake?
Who'd you get Buffalo Wild Wings with?
Just by myself.
Little solo dinner?
Yes. Anyways,
How many wings
forget
did you
the
eat?
Jets, forget the Colts. I don't care about them winning or losing. I just want this season.
Well, Charles, it'd be great if you can get on your Wi-Fi because your internet was dog crap. We have many more questions still to ask you, so please call back.
He's home spell is on the bed. That's what feels good. On the road spell is on the bed. In a dirty hotel room. The show spell is on the bed. It's just more comfortable. He got a beard. Loves the Jets. Super chats. With a big fella. Sleeps alone. There's no room on his bed. But that's a big fella.
Mr. Asman.
Hello, big fella.
How's it going? No more Wilksing it up, huh?
It's a shame. All
Yeah,
right. I understood why Glenn did it, but man, 3 more weeks. Because this is honestly just one more game. Like, let him Wilks it up for the Saints game because they're not going to win the Bills or the Patriot game. But this is the one game they could accidentally win.
I know. It's poor timing. As for like people talking about the draft and everything, we have 3 games left. And you can't talk in definitives now with so much that could happen with the order and then with the, how the college players play in the playoffs and stuff. You just can't. There's too much there's too many variables going on. So you could speak your opinion, obviously, but you can't say, oh, well, they're going to draft this guy or this. We don't know yet. No one knows.
We don't even know what quarterbacks are definitively coming out yet either.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So, but like I told you on the first show, I got this lovely Merry Christmas card from Beast. And I'd like to share it with everybody because it's I never had one like this before. It's awesome. The envelope that it came in had Bellies on the Bed written on the outside of it. So this is great. It says, "Big fella, thanks for all the help this year. It was hard, but we managed wisely from aerobics to crushing that pussy piece of shit 6 rings. Now let's get ready for 2026. Let's party. Signed, Jason Allen Storm. So that was my card, and I never had one like that before. So it was definitely something else. I appreciate it, Big. I appreciate it, Beast.
Muchos gracias, senor. Don't worry, I took care of USPS for you today. I took care of it.
I never had a Christmas card say the word piece of shit or pussy in it. So this was something else.
Hey, when 6 Rings was going after you, I said, okay, this guy's gonna get smoked. So I had to I had to pull a come in like Peter Pan and go. I'm like, goodbye, 6 Ring. Ding ding ding.
Exactly.
That's what I had to pull him up and do a kick Crafton Hook's ass.
Exactly. No, I appreciate that. I appreciate the thought of the Christmas card. I really do. So
well, don't worry. He's in the past now. Let's party for 2026. And next year, we know who we got as bartender. You know who we got. If he gets that bottle of Hennessy in his hand, you know who we call bartender Jake.
That's it. That's it.
Hey,
yeah.
Hey, if he gets that Hennessy in his hand, you know what time it is. Open up the bar. Going, hey, bartender, Joe Boo needs a refill.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, the Beast.
Right now, we're getting some gabagool. If you really want some gabagool, you got to come get the gabagool. Catch you later.
Well, big fella, I'm glad you can get a memorable Christmas card from the Beast.
Yeah, it was something else. I'm hanging it up, dude. It's pretty awesome. I'll show it to you. It's right here. It's legit. It's legit. I appreciate the thought. I really do. He didn't have to do it, but he did. And like I said, I appreciate it 100%. So it's all good.
Great call, big fella. You're the man.
Thanks, man. You're the man.
The big fella checking in. All right, ladies and gentlemen, back with hopefully better Wi-Fi is none other than the man who chose to go to a comic book convention instead of watching the Jets yesterday. And his Colts had the most intriguing storyline we've seen in years for an NFL game, Phillip Rivers, and he didn't watch that.
Hi, I'm Charles, and I'm going to talk about Spider-Man and movies and sports and video games and maybe hot chicks.
Hello, Charles.
Jake, why do you honestly care? It's not the most important thing in the world.
Why do I care about what specifically?
Me not watching a damn football game.
Because you're a football fan and you chose something over football.
I wanted hanging out with friends.
Or lovers.
Would you stop with that, Jake? Seriously.
Oh, I'm just saying in general.
Jake, this really needs to stop. I'm
Friends
trying my best to keep my cool. I'm trying my best to keep my cool here for my viewers and for your viewers.
Who are your viewers that aren't also my viewers?
That's what I meant, Jake. Now listen, what I said before was Wilks was a major disappointment on the coaching staff.
Hold on a second. You're calling in to a football show, but you didn't watch the football game yesterday. That's what I'm talking about.
I watched the highlights. That good enough?
I suppose. Does the highlight tell you everything you need to know?
Yeah, the team played like shit. This team was poorly coached, especially on defense. I know people think I'm a fake fan, and you know what? I honestly don't give a shit.
I think you do care, though. That's why you keep calling.
I care about talking to my friends.
So how many people of the 362 people that are currently watching live are your friends, would you say?
Nick Shine.
We don't know if Nick Shine is definitely watching at this moment.
Whatever. Look, Jake, honestly,
so you call in only to directly speak to Nick Shine? Why not just call him?
I did. I talked to him earlier.
Right. So then why are you calling this show? So we could hear your point again?
No, but what I'm trying to say is, Jake, is that my internet cut out because I was in the lobby. It was in the hallway of my apartment. Anyways, as I was trying to say, hopefully next year they bring a legitimate defensive coordinator, maybe someone like a Jim Leonard.
Now, let me ask you a question. What was wrong with my statement, friends and lovers?
Because I know you're trying to start something. Sometimes you can be an instigator.
But you said you like to hang out with your friends. So then I said, and lovers. I'm giving you street cred. You could have been with a lovely lover yesterday, for all we know.
I don't have any lovers, Jake. Is that good enough for you?
But you could have lovers.
I choose not to have lovers at this time. Is that all, Jake, or is it going to be another clown show?
Well, I don't know what your definition is of a clown show. I think it's just two people having a conversation right now.
Goodbye, Jake.
Before you go, can you please explain this, Charles? Your thoughts on Netflix winning the bidding war for Warner Brothers Discovery. Now, this 3 days ago has 34 views. Right now, there's 357 people watching. So what an opportunity for you here, for your
I'm not
viewers.
talking about it on the show. Thank you and good night.
Well, so now we're drawing the line, are we? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. What a turn of events. All right, home stretch here. Last chance to get in on the conversation, ladies and gentlemen. Up next is a man with a tremendous, you know what? I don't want to spoil anything. Get your guesses in.
What is going on, Jake?
What's up, Kyle?
I've actually used this one before. You might not have noticed. I got it from Addie about a week or two ago.
It's my favorite one.
Yeah. I actually didn't realize it was Gary until like after my call, and people pointed it out to me. It's pretty funny. So wasn't Glenn supposed to stop the leaks? Now we think he might be the leak. Like, what is going on there?
So do you agree that this sounds like something Aaron Glenn would say?
It does sound a little, do-si-do. He goes around and around sometimes. And but the whole point is he's supposed to stop the leaks.
Yep.
And that's a pretty damning indictment of him not stopping the leaks. So it's frustrating. Because, Moochie can pick all the players in the world. If Glenn's not the guy, it's not going to really help us. Sauce Gardner, he's not keeping too many fans here. Like, this is probably the reason he's out the door, right? Like, this is...
Yeah, not everything... You don't need to tweet every thought you have, Sauce. Enough.
No, it's a little narcissistic to think that way. Like, that everything that you think has to be... pumped out to the world. And I think our president probably found that out today. I know we don't do politics on the show, and I don't really do them either. I don't think that's really indicative of my politics one way or the other. I'm somewhere in the middle. But, it's just... and it was a little disappointing to see JJ... kind of not talking to the media because he's usually such a stand-up guy, faces the music, so gung-ho and positive all the time. And for him to do that, I think, Will Par's probably right. There's something's rotten in Denmark, right? And, if Wilks is at the root of it, then he had to go. He probably had to go anyway. Whether it was now or at the end of the season, but we got to see some growth from Aaron Glenn next year, man. When we get some players that the second year of him picking players and free agency and the draft, I want to see some results. I want to see some positive movement. I don't necessarily mean a playoff spot, but this team cannot win less than 6 to 7 games next year, without a doubt. I mean, and they got to be competitive. Like six is like really on the board.
I think Glenn's fired if they win 6 next year. I think they got to win at least 7 or 8 for him to even think about having a job for a third year.
See, now that's the thing though. Like, I kind of think that Woody is going to give him a long rope, but maybe I'm wrong on that.
Not if it's another year like this where quarterback play remains abysmal. There's blowouts late in the year. The building's empty again. Like they get this year, there needs to be real improvement next year and a good start at the bare minimum to provide some energy back in the fan base. Otherwise, it's going to get ugly again.
Your voice sounds strong. You must be fully healed.
I can't stop coughing, but at least I have energy again. It's the past week to lift the curtain was hardest week I've ever had to do with the show. It was brutal, man. It really was.
All right. Well, we appreciate your efforts, and thanks for taking my call so late. I'll talk to you guys later.
Kyle, great background and great call. Tremendous. Hey, last chance to get in the raffle. I'm counting the names here. We have a sick prize. Signed Joe Klecko helmet. Has the Hall of Fame inscription on it. So get in, baby. Gift the membership. Send in a super chat. $5 super chat, the minimum to qualify. Shout out to Jeffrey, who gifted a membership. He's in the raffle for one. South Ass checks in. Is there anyone more annoying? I think this was sent when JJ was on the phone, but I don't know for sure. Jets Hub, we're going to have the first pick and then beat Buffalo. Well, that would kind of be the funny question, right? Eliminate the Bills from the playoffs or lose and get the first pick? I'm losing again in the first pick. As much as I'd love to stick it to Buffalo, I will see the greater picture. Give me the first pick. I don't have to trade a damn thing to get my quarterback, and I could surround the quarterback with all these picks this year, right? Like the Jets have a lot of picks, folks. That Cowboy pick in the second round is only going higher as Dallas loses. That Colts pick, I think, will be a lot higher than 18 because I think they're not going to win another game. And what people need to remember, too, the reason why you want to be picking as high as possible in a draft, it's not just the first round. You pick at the top of each round, the second, the third. If the Jets finish 3, that's better than finishing 7 because then you're picking 7th each round as opposed to picking 3, right? The third team to select a player in each round. That's why that stuff matters, too. You get better players overall. Shout out to Bronx Jet fan who gifted not 1, but 2 channel memberships to enter the Klecko raffle. More calls before we wrap. Artie is next. Hello, Artie.
Hey, Jake. As Maniacs, hope everyone's doing great today.
Fantastic, Artie. How are you?
Good. Hey, I just want to let it be known, Papa Jet kicked my ass in the Asmaniac quarterfinals of the playoffs.
Ooh.
In the Discord. It was a well-deserved victory by him. I have no ill will towards Papa Jet, of course, but I'm out. But it was a lot of fun in the Discord. St. Nick did a great job. Boom. All the guys that run it did a great job in the Discord, and it was a lot of fun. And that's that. So if you're not in the Discord, people, if you're not on Patreon, join, get in the Discord. It's a lot of fun. Don't cost a whole lot of money. And, that's about it with that. As far as firing, he had to go. I wish they would have waited till the end of the year. I mean, at this point, it didn't make sense.
I think there was a real risk in the locker room, which is why you do it now.
I had to be there or it had to come from up top. I wonder if Woody's leash is getting a little shorter with these blowouts. I wonder if he's losing a little bit of faith in AG, watching this team get absolutely destroyed each week. I mean, dear Lord, I mean, we can't even go take a piss before the game's 21-0 every week. I mean, it's crazy. And it's really hard to judge. Is it the players? Is it the coach? Is it a combination? I mean, this play is so poor, it almost don't look real. It almost looks like they're trying to play that way. Because, I mean, it's just unbelievable. But anyway, who knows? Anyway, I believe Gary's on hold waiting to come on. I don't want to take up too much time. I'm glad to see you're feeling better. Want to say a quick hello to the Asmaniacs. Congratulate Papa Jet. And Johnny Boy, I hope your continued healing is going well and you'll be out of there soon. So,
amen.
That's it. Have
Great
a good
call,
night,
Artie. Great call. I spoke with Johnny Boy today. So, thinking about him, for those who don't know, one of our longtime listeners, callers, Johnny Boy is in the hospital right now. So, sending our well wishes to Johnny, who showed me he's repping some Asmaniac gear in the hospital too. So if you're still watching right now, Johnny, wishing you all the best, man. We'll check in with you throughout the week. More calls before we wrap. We do have a raffle still to come. Jedaholic, you're next.
Hey, Jake. Thank God they fired Wilks. I know, like, I agree they could have waited till the end of the season, but the one thing I will give Glenn right now is he's definitely shown an ability to admit when he's wrong. I mean, it was obviously way too late, but, you know, with the past regime, that's something, you know, they would just die on the ship with whoever they had. And then, honestly, I what's your thoughts on Brady Cook? I know the defense wasn't that bad. I know he's not a long-term answer, but I feel like, again, he was in a tough spot, and I think he played, like, you know, somewhat okay for an undrafted rookie. Like, it's hard when you're down 21 points, but I think he ran the offense better than Fields did.
I think he played well enough where you give him another start, and it's not like obvious you're tanking. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't Luke Falk. You know, he didn't Tim Boyle it. He looked like he looked like a bad NFL quarterback, which is a pretty big win for a UDFA making his debut in his rookie season, you know?
Yeah, we've definitely seen worse. Like, I think he's at least shown that he deserves to be in the league, even if it's just as a third string.
Yeah, let him start the year with the team in training camp, and we'll see what the rest of the room looks like at that point. But yeah, 100%. I mean, he played well enough where you at least could get through these next 3 games, and you don't have to go back to Fields or Tyra. Just he was okay. Yeah. He was not good, but he was not awful. And they certainly put him in a tough spot again when you have no defense that even gives you a chance.
Yeah, it was awful. Like, wow. But and another point I want to make is I got a couple more, but you alluded to, like, how if we had Falk last year, it just, like, we're so scarred. Like, nothing ever lines up for us. Like, it's either one year the defense is great, we have a good kicking game, but it doesn't matter because quarterback's so bad, or vice versa. Like, if we had Falk last year, who knows, they might have made the playoffs. Or if we had 2023's defense this year, like, things could have looked a lot different. And, you know, not forcing any turnovers now, like, it's just nothing ever lines up for us in the same season. So, like, one thing I worry about, and I hate to think like this, but we're just so scarred, is, like, we'll finally draft our quarterback, or we would trade for Burrow or something, and they would just continue to get hurt, or Burrow would retire after, like, a year, because that would be our luck. You know what I mean? Like, nothing ever lines up for us. Like, it sucks. I hope one day it finally changes. Let's hope it starts to turn around next year. Like, man, but and then it really sucks that the Raiders are probably going to get the first pick, because I don't see them trading out of that spot, and I really don't see them winning a game. Maybe the Giants, but and then the last point I wanted to make is I think we're starting to see now that Sauce is kind of immature. Like, I feel like he cares more about, like, his celebrity persona and streaming, and, like, he's always on Twitter, worries about what everybody's saying. Like, I really do. I mean, he's a good football player, but I think he's immature. But may the Jets be with you.
Jedaholic, appreciate you, man. Yeah, look, I Sauce's tweet I just think is stupid. But whatever. Thanks for the 2 first-round picks. Like, is what it is. That trade is aged beautifully. Sauce is hurt, and the Colts, I don't think are going to win another game. So we're talking about top 15 pick potentially. That might be the reason we get Fernando Mendoza or Dante Moore. Because the Jet first rounder with the Colts first rounder this year beats any team's offer. It really does. Right? Because Jacksonville's going to make the playoffs. So the Browns had their first. It's not going to be as high as the Colts first the Jets have. That's the only other team that needs a quarterback that has 2 1s this year. Right? The Rams have 2 1s, but their pick's going to be in the 30s potentially. And they had the Falcons pick, which that win by Atlanta was good because that moves them down a little bit. And I don't think the Rams are going to be ultra aggressive for a quarterback either. I don't buy that. Ralphie says, I hope Wilks had the walk home from Jacksonville and got no hugs from Woody. Ralphie in our Klecko raffle for 2. All right. Today's closer is a guy who's going to really stretch it out. You know, some closers come in, it's 1, 2, 3. It's an easy save. Other closers come in, they make you sweat. It's a long 9th inning. That's the closer we have today.
Get ready for Neil. He will make 13 points about the New York Jets and maybe hump a Patriots jersey. Get ready for Neil. He's proudly smoking a big fat cigar and burning his house to the ground. That's me.
Jake, my brother.
Hello, Neil.
All right, another unvictory Monday. Anyhow, getting ready to watch my boy, Aaron Rodgers, get a little win tonight. Get closer to the AFC Championship game when I get to get revenge on all the meatballs that wanted to get rid of him. Not that we really need any. We already know that would have been a better choice, but I want to see him win. I like Aaron Rodgers.
I'm rooting for him. I have no ill will.
Yeah, how can you not root for the guy? He came to the Jets. Joe Burrow doesn't want to come to the Jets, trust me. The only way he comes to the Jets is in chains with a big fat checkbook and a key to the city. He doesn't want to come here voluntarily. I don't think there's a player out there worth a shit that really wants to come to the Jets unless we really pay him a lot right now. Wouldn't you agree?
I don't think there's any chance Joe Burrow is going to waive his no trade to be a Jet. So I'm not entertaining it. I think the Jets' path to get their quarterback is in the draft.
Kind of ironic that Quentin got an interception yesterday with Dallas, fell on his lap. You know, when he was 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, just popped forward and jumped in his hands. You know, he was too busy. He was too busy playing with the guy in front of him. Next thing he knows, he had a ball in his hand. And we can't even get an interception, this team. It's unbelievable. 0. I see 24 turnovers, 27 turnovers. There's teams with 27 turnovers, and we have 2. Jake, how crazy is that?
Neil, I get it. I don't know. There's no explanation for it. None. That's why Steve Wilks had to be fired at the end of the year, and after that performance yesterday, why Glenn pulled the plug
had
now.
to get rid of it. Look, Steve Wilks, enough. Hit the bricks. And I think that was a Woody call. Let me tell you something right now. Look, Woody Johnson, what guys don't realize is he's not going to have a long leash. The guy's how old is he now? 81 or 82? How old is he?
I don't think he's in his 80s yet.
Yes, he is, Jake. I think he's 81 or something. Check.
You want to bet? How old do you think he is?
Oh, now you say you want to bet. That means he's under 80.
He's 78.
All right, 78.
Well, a second ago, you were just attacking me for telling you I don't think he's 80 yet.
All right, so look, he's 78, Jake.
Yes.
Jake,
Neil,
he's at the end of his rope, dude.
I do agree that they need to show real improvement next season.
No, forget about next season. I'm telling you, I give it. If they lose these next 3 games, I mean handily.
I don't know. I think they could lose handily like they just did, and I don't know if that's necessarily enough for Woody to fire
You think if
Glenn.
they get smacked around by the Saints and smacked big time against the Patriots and the Bills to end the season?
I would fire him if that happens. But I think even if that happens, Woody will not want to admit a mistake and fire a coach that he handpicked after 1 year.
He's not even handpick him. Your boy Tannenbaum.
No, but ultimately, Woody's the one who led the search, and he's the one who signed off on who they hired, which is the first time he's done this since McCagnon and Bowles a decade ago.
I get it, but what we do know is, let's put it this way: what is in Woody's head is right now. Okay, if he's any kind of football mind, he's saying to himself, "Boy, I really screwed up not getting Vrabel and firing Salah the year before." You don't think that's got going through his head right now?
I mean, it should. The worst thing he did was
right?
fire Salah.
Let's assume he doesn't like Robert Kraft. Let's assume that he's pissed off that Robert Kraft got a one-up on him by grabbing Vrabel and firing Mayo. Now, fast forward, and let's just say that one of the big coaches, Pittsburgh, maybe Harbaugh, maybe somebody big shakes free, or somebody wants to come back into the league. If there's somebody big that's got a tremendously proven track record, that might be the end of Glenn. Other than that, I don't see it happening. But that's a possibility, Jake.
I guess, but I don't see it. And who's that guy? And Woody's going to show the balls to fire that guy and then write a blank check for whoever that person is?
Yeah, well, he might have to write a check now because I'll tell you right now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's going to have
year-
to pay Glenn to not coach, and then he's going to spend a fortune on a big name coach. I just don't see it.
Well, next year, if they like you said, if this team wins, I'm curious to know how many people gave up their season tickets. JJ gave his up, right? He said he gave them up.
He did. I think a lot more fans than ever gave up their season tickets over the last couple of years than they've ever experienced.
Not when Rodgers came, but after Rodgers left, that was the biggest defection. Let's face it.
Well, Rodgers leaving, and then there were some people who maybe stayed because they wanted to have some hope about Glenn. But this year has been such an unmitigated disaster.
Yes,
I know a lot of people that just straight up didn't renew at all, and they're not going to. Because why would you? You'll
it's a
save
business,
a fortune.
Jake, it's a business.
Yeah,
when he
and
sees the leakage come, if he sees that if he sees the start of the season next year, and like I said, he's got a big decision.
But he's not going to
It's not
fire
like a
Glenn.
given.
He's not going to fire Glenn, like just based on people not renewing at this point. They're going to get
No,
the
but-
offseason. They're going to get a quarterback that will, if they
I
have
get it.
Mendoza,
That's
they'll hype
part
him
of it.
up.
It's part of it. That's part of it. Then you have to look at whether or not you trust the regime with a new quarterback. The fact that
He trusts them already. He let them trade Sauce and Quinnen. That's not showing trust at 1-7 and letting them make those moves. If you weren't going to keep the coach and the GM who orchestrated those deadline moves, why would you let them do it?
True.
I just don't see it, Neil. Look, if Woody Johnson woke up and fired Aaron Glenn at the end of the year, I wouldn't be that upset about it. I think he's had a horrible season, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
I think he's a lot more volatile than people think. I mean,
He
if
might
it was
be.
a giant, if it was Mara, I'd say no shot.
Yeah, but
This
Woody's
guy
also
is a little bit-
egotistical. There's ego involved here. He would have to admit he made a mistake hiring a franchise legend and got rid of him after a year. Robert Kraft showed balls. He also knew he had Mike Vrabel waiting for him if he made
Right.
that move. It's not like the Jets have an obvious, like, here's the guy you hire, boom.
There's only one guy, that is going to tempt him, and that would be the Pittsburgh coach. That's the only guy that could.
And the Steelers aren't going to fire Tomlin, so that's not going to happen.
Well, like I said, not if Rodgers takes him a long way, but I'll tell you, I have a lot of Pittsburgh friends. They hate him.
I know, because they
This
live
guy
in
is
a
hated.
world. I know they're sick of 9-8 or 10-7. They haven't won a playoff game since 2017. It's a different world. We would kill to be the Steelers.
I
to have
know.
a season every year.
But what
It's a
these
different
guys
world.
call shit, we would call gold.
Yeah. I mean, Mike Tomlin, look at the quarterbacks he's won games with recently. Fields, Russell Wilson, a 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers, like Kenny Pickett, Trubisky, yes, Mason Rudolph.
Mason Rudolph. Oh, my God. Anyhow.
Nick Shine, this is a terrible take. Tomlin's awful. The organization's stability makes them successful. Shut up. Who's a big part of their success? The head coach who sets the temperament of the organization. Chuck Noll has nothing to do with the Steelers' success in 2025. Give me a break. That's a terrible take by Nick.
Let me tell you something. At the end of the day, we should have rolled with the Rex. And I got to tell you,
That
Rex
wouldn't
would
have been the
never
right
have had
move
this
either.
happen.
No, that's not the right. What they should have done was hire Mike McCarthy, who I
Yes,
wanted
that would have
from the
been the right
beginning,
move.
or
I
hired
agree.
hired
I wanted
someone with
McCarthy.
experience.
I wanted Gruden. I wanted an established guy. Absolutely. No question about it. But it is what it is. And we'll see. We got the worst rookie coach in history. And all the other rookie coaches are going to the playoffs this year.
Well,
That's
think
not a
about
good
this
start.
year, though, right? This is a historically bad Jets season. Like, the Jets have only lost 14 games in a season twice. Kotite, 1-15 and 96. Gase in 2020, 2-14. Like, if they lose out, which I think they will, I am slightly nervous about Sunday against New Orleans. Like, the Jets in their history have not had a 14-loss season. It's only the third time. Like, that's what Aaron Glenn's already now done in year one. Like, the other guys, Kotite and Gase were at the end of their tenures. That was year two, and they were done after it.
And I've been through every one of those seasons. I was like I am now, watching every game intently, yelling and screaming, but I didn't have you to bounce shit off of and the Asmaniacs. I had to bounce it off my family, and now they don't talk to me anymore. But anyway, about the Jets anyway. So everybody, I got nothing. I don't know how, but I have nothing. Oh, I want to see Adrian Martinez.
Oh, God.
If shut up.
Here we go.
If this guy shits the bed this next game and throws 3 more picks and can't move the ball, a lot of 3 and outs, I want him. At least could he be the backup, Jake? Could we look at the guy? Could he be any worse than fucking Justin Fields?
No, you can play. If you want to play Adrian Martinez, I don't care. Let him play.
Yeah, let him play a little bit. You never know.
I don't think he's gonna give anything that is gonna excite you, Neil. But if that makes you
I'm not
more
excited
inclined to
about-
watch, fine. Play Adrian
I'm not
Martinez.
excited about Cook. Maybe Chuck Wagon's excited about Cook because he likes to cook. Maybe a couple
true.
guys that like to cook. But
Cook
he's not
wasn't
cooking
horrendous
so good.
though. He really wasn't.
No, he wasn't bad. He wasn't the he was about what I expected. Maybe a little bit better than what I expected. A little bit better. This freaking Adrian Smith should never see the field. He's a waste. He didn't even go after that interception. He was horrible.
Arian Smith.
Arian Smith. Waste, Jake. Bench. Gone. Cut. Alan Lazard, he threw that pick in the end zone, but Alan Lazard stopped. He threw that ball in the back of the end zone. Aaron Lazard was supposed to go back there and leap up for it, wasn't he?
Again, why is Alan Lazard
stopped.
still on this team?
Right. This is what's mind-boggling to me. Why is this guy going out for a pass? I heard they're going to bring up Jelani Woods finally. He might play in the next game.
Yeah.
We got the guy 8 weeks ago. He's never seen the field. He's probably going to come on and play well. And I believe I saw a couple plays this week with Stoney Smarty in there. Didn't you see a couple of plays with Smarty?
I don't know.
Yeah, he was in the game, Jake. I think he played about 4 snaps. So maybe we'll see a little bit.
Neil, I love you.
Love you, baby.
You're
love the Asmaniacs.
Neil is talking about Adrian Martinez. He wants to see Stone Smart. I don't care. Get me to the end of the season, please. None of this matters. Just lose. Lose. Aaron Glenn, you've been great at losing so far. Do it 3 more times, and we can move on with our lives to the offseason. All right. We have a Joe Klecko autographed helmet that we're going to raffle away. Ladies and gentlemen, before we do the Asmaniac raffle, let's bring on our master of ceremony, Bruce Fluffer.
That's Michael Buffer to you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment we've all been waiting for. It is time to spin the wheel of champions.
It's time to announce the winners of the weekly Asmaniac raffle. Let's spin the Jake Asman Show Wheel of Champions and find out which Asmaniac is winning an epic prize.
Oh, yeah, baby. Hey, big thank you to everyone who entered the raffle. This, of course, is across both our morning stream of Beningo and this afternoon stream. Thank you to everyone. Robin Boy Wonders, I realized I didn't get to your super chat, but I did account for it in the raffle. Robin wrote, Josina tweeted a response to all the guessing about who her source was an hour ago. Her tweet left me even more confused. Put me in for the Klecko helmet. Anything Josina Anderson tweets, you got to read it like 7 different times to understand whatever she's trying to say, because she makes no sense. Most of her tweets are so incoherent, you actually get dumber after reading them. So I'm not even going to bother. All I know is her quote source, a league source, sounded exactly like a coach on the Jets, as we covered earlier. Bino says, I'm speaking Glenn Gahn into existence, LOL. I just don't think he's getting fired, guys. Look, I'm not sitting here saying I'd be mad if what he did. I don't see it. Uno says, Jake, put me in. Uno, I'm putting you in for 2. Uno Jets at the buzzer. Thank you, Uno. All right. Good luck to everyone. If you win, please email me your name and your address so we know where to send the helmet to. Good luck to everybody. But only one Asmaniac can win, and your winner is Jared G. Jared G, who was a first-time caller on the show this morning and got 2 raffle tickets. How about that? Jared G., you're the winner of the autographed Joe Klecko helmet. Hit the Jet chant for him. Let's go. Jared, thank you for your support. And again, thank you to everyone who tuned in. 6 hours of Jets talk today on the channel. 3 with Beningo this morning, 3 just now. You guys are awesome. Thank you for the support. This team sucks, but the fan base is the best, incredible. Not enough can be said about the loyalty that the Jet fan shows and the loyalty you guys share to the show. So thank you for that. If you are an Asmaniac who's not on Patreon, you're missing out. Get on the Patreon. Get your name added to the intro every month. Get all the perks like the Discord access, bonus shows, 20% off every item in the merch store year round. And if you sign up for the year, by the way, you do save 15% on your Patreon membership. Got some bonus shows that'll be hitting the Patreon later this week, so be ready for that. All right, I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Jets are off, but there'll be more fallout from the Steve Wilks decision. We'll have plenty more to talk about in regards to who the defensive coordinator candidates likely are. So we will cover that then. Until then, I'll talk to you guys soon. Go Jets, everybody.
Yeah, I'm a tough son of a bitch. I've been through it all. I mean, I've been hit by a bus, still got back up.
You've been hit by a bus. Let's start. What type of bus? Short bus?
Public transit. The guy was an asshole, so yeah, I already took care of it. Don't worry about it.
So what happened after he hit you?
It got physical, so I don't want to talk about it.
You beat up the bus driver?
But I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about that.
Wait, hold on. And then the second thing is you said you survived an ear infection?
3 times.
Wow.
2005, 2015, 2016. Survived.
Hold on. This is a huge accomplishment. You're a 3-time ear infection survivor?
No, that don't count.
What do you mean they don't count?
That's the past. This is the future. The future is...
Oh, hi. Jake wants me to ask you to click on the like button.
That's right, Lane. And if they don't subscribe to the Jake Asman Show, this team may never win another game. Let's go Jets.